Chapter 249. The soul-searching technique was a rather ruthless martial art. It forcibly searched other people's soul memories, but it was unknown how much they could search, but one thing was certain. Those who were searched by the soul-searching technique would basically become an idiot. Even if they didn't become an idiot, their soul would certainly be damaged, which would have a great impact on their future cultivation. If their soul was not intact, their cultivation speed would be greatly reduced, and so would their perception. It could be said that it was one of the most cruel martial arts, but only a few people knew about it. It was not surprising that the Netherworld Empire knew about the soul-searching technique. The Great Elder's face changed. The Netherworld Empire wouldn't care whether they knew about it or not. Yi Tianyun's face didn't change. It was normal for them to know such insidious methods. I see. Then I am willing to hand it over. Yi Tianyun suddenly said. Yi Tianyun's words shocked everyone, including the Great Elder. They didn't expect that he would hand it over at this moment. Ha ha ha. Aren't you a stubborn person? You didn't choose to join the Netherworld Empire before, and now you want to beg for mercy? Nan Fengyun laughed. That's right, it's too late to hand it over now. The other manor heads laughed along with him. They laughed so hard that tears almost came out of their eyes. They had seen stupid people before, but they had never seen such a stupid person. Previously, he had a backbone in front of so many people, but now he had withered. Sure enough, the young mansion lord was not reliable. He said one thing, but he did another behind his back. No, a wise man submits to circumstances. If you are willing to hand it over, I can let your heaven's top mansion go. Lin Hao smiled. Finally, there was something to be happy about. However, a murderous intent flashed past his eyes, as if he did not mean it. This is the Xian Tian divine art. Here you go. Yi Tianyun threw a martial art book, but it didn't fall into Lin Hao's hands. It fell to the ground. Sorry, I didn't throw it. Go pick it up. Lin Hao rubbed his palms, ignoring Yi Tianyun's situation. He motioned the guard next to him to pick it up. Master Lin, let me help you. Nan Fengyun smiled and walked over to help pick it up. Then, he eagerly walked over and handed the martial art over. Just as Lin Hao picked it up, he ordered, "Kill them all for me, don't leave a single one alive." He didn't even look at the content. His expression was ferocious. Clearly, he had broken his promise. Didn't you get our Xian Tian divine art? Why are you still attacking us? The Great Elder didn't know why Yi Tianyun had chosen to give up in the end, but he still agreed with Yi Tianyun's decision. But now that he was going to be killed, how could he tolerate that? I just said to keep heaven's top mansion, I never said to keep you. Lin Hao laughed loudly and signaled the shadow guards to attack. The three shadow guards pounced forward without hesitation. Their figures were simply too fast, as though they had disappeared on the spot. However, just as they were about to pounce on him, a figure turned into a whip and lashed out fiercely. Bang bang bang. The three shadow guards were sent flying, smashing heavily to the side, directly falling limply onto the ground. Ding, successfully killed shadow guard. Reward, 260. 000 EXP, 3200 crazy point, 50 SPs, obtained shadow step, shadow blade. Ding, successfully killed shadow guard. Reward, 280. 000 EXP, 3300 crazy point, 60 SPs, obtained shadow step, shadow blade, stealth suit. Ding, successful. 3 shadow guards were killed with a single kick. It was clean and efficient, without any pressure at all. Feeling that the shadow guards were dead, the mansion lord's face changed. They were all cultivators of Spirit Core Realm, how could they be killed with a single kick? This proved that the young mansion lord's cultivation had reached the Spirit Core stage, and he was even at the late stage of the Spirit Core stage. I knew you were lying, look at what you have in your hand. Yi Tianyun sneered. At this time, Lin Hao lowered his head to look at the thing in his hand. After looking at it clearly, he angrily tore it apart, and then scattered it on the ground. Vaguely, he could see the words, "Basic Fist Technique," written on it. This is the most common thing in the market. Yi Tianyun didn't have it in his inventory, so he bought it from the merchant shop. It cost him 100 crazy point. You dare to fool me? Lin Hao was angry. He thought that Yi Tianyun would really give him the Xian Tian divine art. He thought that Yi Tianyun was really afraid of him, but he didn't expect that he was fooled. After the great elder saw the fake, he laughed. Sure enough, Mansion Lord Yi is still the same Mansion Lord, he doesn't want to bow his head to anyone. If I didn't fool you, how could I know that you are not fooling me? Yi Tianyun sneered, you didn't even see clearly whether it is the Xian Tian divine art or not, and you immediately ordered to kill us, tsk. What a good scheme. How dare you? Nan Fengyun sneered, you think you are invincible here just because you have some skills? Lord Lin, let me help you get rid of him. Lord Lin, count me in. Lord Lin, count me in as well. One by one, the mansion lords chose to stand up. They just joined the Netherworld Empire, how could they not help? They looked at Yi Tianyun with murderous intent. Since Yi Tianyun was able to kill a Spirit Core Realm Shadow Guard, it proved that his cultivation is definitely above Spirit Core Realm. So sending ordinary Spirit Core Realm Shadow Guards was like a fool. Therefore, Nan Fengyun volunteered to help capture Yi Tianyun. Good, capture him. I want this kid to die. Kill the rest of them. Lin Hao said angrily. Since someone is willing to help him, then he will let Nan Fengyun do it. Nan Fengyun walked down from the stage and unleashed his aura of third-level core transformation stage to suppress Yi Tianyun. In addition to him, several other mansion lords also came down. They released their core transformation stage cultivation. The weakest one was at the 8th or 9th level of the spirit core stage. All of a sudden, they surrounded Yi Shiwen. Kid, this time you are going to die. Since you killed my personal disciple, then I will kill your whole heaven's top mansion. Nan Fengyun sneered, you were arrogant before, but now I want to see how arrogant you can be. Boom. Suddenly, Yi Tianyun turned into a red light and rushed towards Nan Fengyun. Nan Fengyun didn't even have time to react and was kicked by Yi Tianyun. With a bang, Nan Fengyun was sent flying like a ball and heavily smashed into the wall. With a boom, the wall that was smashed by Nan Fengyun couldn't withstand the terrifying force and directly penetrated through it, not even leaving a shadow behind. Chapter 250. Ding! Successfully killed Nan Fengyun. Reward, 2,500,000 EXP, 22,000 crazy point, 200 SPS, 5,000 divine rune proficiency. Obtained martial art after image step, breaking spirit finger. Obtained imperial spirit pen, high-grade soul tool, tyrant rune paper, rare, damage bonus divine rune, 5th grade divine rune. Nan Fengyun dropped a lot of good stuff. EXP was as high as 2,500,000, crazy point was more than 20,000, and even the divine rune proficiency was as high as 5,000. This wasn't a problem with the numbers, but Yi Tianyun used both the 30x and 20x EXP cards, which added up to a total of 58x EXP. Even the EXP card that he got from the gift pack was used. He didn't expect the 5x mastery card to double after killing the divine rune masters. This was something that Yi Tianyun didn't expect. Not to mention his sin points, they had all doubled. The value jumped crazily all of a sudden. With so many strong masters here, how could he let go of this feast? For him, it was a big wave of EXP and crazy point, how could he miss it? With the crazy damage mode activated, he instantly killed Nan Fengyun with one kick. So what if Nan Fengyun was a sect lord? Especially now that he was a core transformation stage cultivator, with his 8x strength, Nan Fengyun, who was just a 3rd level core transformation stage cultivator, was nothing in front of him. If he couldn't even kill Nan Fengyun with one move, then his strength would really be in vain. This scene made many of the mansion lords who surrounded him dumbfounded. They couldn't even see the speed of Yi Tianyun's attack. What did this mean? It meant that his cultivation was higher than theirs by a large margin. Otherwise, there was no way they couldn't see it clearly. What kind of power is this? They were shocked to the point that they couldn't be more shocked. They thought that Spirit Core stage was the peak, but now it seems that he was still in Core Transformation stage. A 17-year-old boy actually has the power of Core Transformation stage. What kind of monster is he? Even if he started cultivating in his mother's womb, it was impossible for him to have such a powerful cultivation, right? The first elder and the others were shocked as well. Although they were mentally prepared for it, since Yi Tianyun was able to kill Ching Feng, it wouldn't be a problem for him to kill Nan Fengyun and the others. However, they were still shocked when they saw it. So what if you're arrogant? Now it's your turn. Yi Tianyun flew up. He didn't use any weapon, nor did he use any secret art. He simply kicked. His battle power was as high as 6 to 7 million, and the power that erupted out was quite terrifying. How much power did they have? It was only 1 or 2 million, but they had completely crushed them. Bang! Boom! Yi Tianyun flew up and kicked twice at an unbelievable speed. The two palace lords were sent flying just like that. Just like Nan Fengyun, they were kicked through the wall and flew backwards. Then, they lost all signs of life. Ding! Successfully killed Flowing Wind Mansion Lord. Reward, 2,300,000 EXP, 21,000 CPS, 200 SPs, Reward, Heaven Dominating Palm, Shadow Sword, Ding! Successfully killed Imperial Wind Mansion Lord. Reward, 2,400,000 EXP, 22,000 CPS, 200 SPs. One after another, the palace lords were easily killed by Yi Tianyun. The palace lords that he killed were all third-grade factions palace lords. But now, in Yi Tianyun's hands, he killed them as if he was slaughtering chickens and dogs. What a terrifying strength. This is simply the strength of a core transformation stage cultivator. They were all scared out of their wits and quickly retreated. They didn't dare to approach Yi Tianyun anymore. But even if they didn't approach Yi Tianyun, it doesn't mean that Yi Tianyun won't approach Yi Tianyun. Since you're already here, why bother leaving? Yi Tianyun sneered and blocked the palace lord who was trying to escape. Yi Tianyun punched the palace lord to death and turned into a huge amount of EXP, take them as hostages. They immediately changed their target and looked at the Great Elder and the other palace lords. If they were to be used as hostages, they might be able to escape. Facing the palace lord level powerhouses, the Great Elder's face sank and shouted, "Stand behind me. I will fight with them. We can't drag the palace lord down." They were too weak. It's not that they don't want to help, but they can't help at this level. In order to prevent Yi Tianyun from being threatened, the Great Elder is ready to use his blood essence to fight with them. If you want to use them as hostages, you have to ask me first. At this time, Yi Tianyun took the Blast Divine Pill, a medicinal pill that he got a long time ago. Looking at the palace lords running towards the Great Elder, Yi Tianyun swallowed the Blast Divine Pill. Although the phoenix wings could increase one's speed, that was the speed of flying. If one were to fly indoors, one might crash into a wall if one flew too fast, and it would be difficult to control. Ding! Successfully consumed Blast Divine Pill, speed increased by 2 times. Xiao! Yi Tianyun's speed increased by 2 times in an instant. In the eyes of the crowd, he was like a shadow. In the blink of an eye, he was in front of them. He didn't use any fancy moves, just a punch. With a dong sound, the man was sent flying and crashed into the thick wall of the palace. If it weren't for the wall, they wouldn't know how far they would have flown. However, there was only one result, and that was death. Whether it was a kick or a punch, the violent power was enough to shatter their internal organs. Even if they didn't die in the beginning, they wouldn't be far from death. This power, impossible, impossible. Lin Hao, who was watching Yi Tianyun's astonishing speed, turned pale. Immediately, a thought flashed in his mind: could it be that you killed Lord Cheng? Seeing Yi Tianyun's terrifying power, according to this situation, the murderer who killed Qing Feng is obvious, and it is obvious that only Yi Tianyun in front of him can do this. You guessed it, yes, I killed Qing Feng. Is there a problem? Not only do you want to snatch the Xian Tian divine art, but also want to destroy my heaven's top mansion? Yi Tianyun sneered, not only will I kill Qing Feng, but I will also kill you today. Yi Tianyun stretched out his hand, and a huge black dragon fell from the sky and blocked the exit. Roar! The black dragon roared at them and immediately spewed out black flames that swept towards them. Some of the sect's elders didn't dodge in time and were immediately burnt to a crisp by the flames. Unknowingly, the black dragon's cultivation had reached level 8 of the spirit core stage. His overbearing strength was enough to stop the mansion masters from escaping. Chapter 251. The huge black dragon blocking the exit shocked them even more. After the great elder and the others saw it, they were all stunned. I heard that the person who saved Yang Shishua and captured Deacon Qian seems to have a black dragon. At this time, Mu Xian thought of something. It was something that Yang Shishua and the others said when they returned. It was something that made them feel inconceivable. They were wondering why Heaven's top mansion had such a strong helper. Now it seems that the helper is none other than their mansion lord. This is just their guess. The black dragon is the biggest symbol, but it is not the absolute symbol. Maybe someone else has a black dragon. Yang Shishua didn't recognize him at first. But at the same time, the mansion lords didn't think so. They were thinking about the recent arrest warrant. A young man riding a black dragon slaughtered the Wang family. They immediately thought of the young man in front of them. Are they the same? They didn't need to think too much. The black dragon had already pounced over, and its huge body trampled over them. It waved its sharp claws, and the deacons of the other sects were either slapped to death or burned to charcoal by the terrifying flames in its mouth. Ding successfully killed Deacon Qian of Flowing Wind Mansion. Reward, 690,000 EXP, 1,400 CPS, 50 SPS, reward. Ding successfully killed. The black dragon's violent power can be said to be unstoppable. Along the way, all the cultivators with low cultivation were flattened. There is no way anyone can escape from here. It's not a good thing if the news of the black dragon leaked out. Yi Tianyun also didn't stand on the side. He followed Yi Tianyun and killed the crowd. There are only 5 people who joined the Netherworld Empire. All of them were trying to please the Netherworld Empire before. They didn't want to force the Netherworld Empire to join them. They just want to help eliminate Yi Tianyun. No matter what they think, Yi Tianyun only has one thought in his mind, and that is to kill them. In the blink of an eye, all these palace lords were easily killed by him, without any difficulty at all. This meant that the palace lords of these forces were completely finished, and a group of elders was about to be killed by him. As for their sects, they could ignore them, but these manor lords must die. Today is the day you die. Lin Hao, who was standing at the side, roared. Shortly after, the sound of something being crushed could be heard. Shortly after, the phantom of the Netherworld Great Emperor appeared in front of everyone and released a terrifying aura. The terrifying pressure caused many people to look over. The attendants and elders who were being chased by the black dragon all revealed ecstatic expressions when they saw the Netherworld Great Emperor. The Netherworld Great Emperor has descended, the Netherworld Great Emperor has descended. Quickly kill them all. Quick, save us. When they saw the Netherworld Great Emperor, they were ecstatic. For them, this was their absolute savior. Looking at the Netherworld Great Emperor, Yi Tianyun's eyes flashed. This was not out of his expectation. Lin Hao was one of the ministers, so it was normal for him to have the Netherworld Great Emperor's talisman. Netherworld Divine Palm. As soon as the Netherworld Great Emperor appeared, he immediately aimed at Yi Tianyun and used his most powerful technique, the Netherworld Divine Palm. A huge palm appeared in the sky and fiercely pressed down on Yi Tianyun. Such a huge palm made the Great Elder and the other elders' faces change. They immediately fled in all directions. However, wherever the Netherworld Divine Palm fell, there was basically nowhere to escape. Even the elders and deacons who were fleeing in all directions were within its attack range. Sir Lin, save us. When they saw the huge palm coming down on them, their faces turned deathly pale. They didn't expect that the attack range would also include them. If such a huge palm came down on them, even if they didn't die, they would be crippled. This attack was indiscriminate, it basically didn't care about their life or death. A bunch of trash. You can't even deal with a piece of trash, then you can all die together. Lin Hao's expression was ferocious. He coldly looked at them as if he was looking at a pile of trash. Originally, he wanted to recruit the palace masters, but now that all the palace masters were dead, there was no point in keeping this group of trash. The most important thing was that the Netherworld Divine Palm was so overbearing, wherever it went, it would turn everything into ashes. Lin Hao looked at Yi Tianyun, his expression was still ferocious. He looked at Yi Tianyun as if he was looking at a dead man. He knew that Yi Tianyun's cultivation was astonishing, but could he be stronger than the Netherworld Great Emperor? Yi Tianyun stopped, narrowed his eyes and looked at the huge palm coming down on him. He clenched his fist and the dragon god's bloodline inside his body erupted. In an instant, his body was covered with a thick layer of dragon scales. Outside the dragon scales, there was also a layer of light blue crystal, but under this light blue crystal, there was also a layer of light gold. 3 extremely powerful defensive divine incantations burst out. The Xian Tian divine incantation and the golden body incantation were both superimposed, instantly raising his defensive power to the extreme. Boom! He suddenly stomped on the ground, creating a deep pit. He seemed to have turned into a red meteor, penetrating the Netherworld Great Emperor's phantom. At this time, the Netherworld Divine Palm had already covered the ground. At the same time, everyone's expression changed greatly. At the same time, Yi Tianyun suddenly stomped on the ground again, instantly bounced up from the ground, and swung his leg fiercely. Boom! Accompanied by an extreme explosive sound, the entire Netherworld Divine Palm that was covering the phantom was destroyed by his kick. The explosion rolled up a series of cyclones, sweeping everything in the surroundings. Many tables and chairs were swept away one after another. The others squinted their eyes and fixed their bodies in place, fearing that they would be swept away. Then, a figure fell from the sky, directly kicking the Netherworld Great Emperor's phantom, shining with a different kind of light. What? Lin Hao's face turned pale, and his heart was fiercely shaken. Yi Tianyun's kick had destroyed the Netherworld Divine Palm, and he didn't even have the slightest injury. It seemed that he was completely unscathed. How strong must his strength be to reach such a terrifying level? Netherworld Divine Palm. The Netherworld Great Emperor's indifferent eyes looked straight at him, without the slightest bit of fear. Originally, this phantom would not show fear, nor would it show any other expression. It was just an energy phantom stored in the jade pendant. Explode for me. Yi Tianyun fiercely kicked down, and with a loud bang, his foot fiercely collided with the Netherworld Great Emperor's palm. The Netherworld Great Emperor's palm was destroyed by his foot. The Netherworld Great Emperor's strength was not weak, with nearly 7 million battle power, but after Yi Tianyun used his full strength, his strength was even a little bit stronger than the Netherworld Great Emperor's. Under the superposition of these 3 powers, his battle power was as high as 7.5 million. Chapter 252. With 2 kicks, the phantom of the Netherworld Emperor was destroyed. Compared to the previous time, Yi Shiwen was able to suppress the phantom of the Netherworld Emperor. Of course, This did not mean that he could easily suppress an expert at the peak of core transformation stage. There were too many variables. Yi Shiwen didn't have any equipment, nor did he have any brains. There were too many factors that couldn't trigger the bloodline. The gap between Yi Shiwen and an expert at the peak of core transformation stage was astonishing. This situation caused many people to be scared out of their wits. Even the Netherworld Great Emperor's power was suppressed. However, they were more glad that they weren't hit by that palm. That was an absolutely deadly existence. They didn't expect that they would be saved instead. How could this be? Lin Hao's face sank. He didn't expect to encounter such a situation. Although the phantom of the Netherworld Emperor wasn't particularly strong, it was still an extremely powerful attack from a peak of core transformation stage master. In the end, even the phantom was destroyed. After falling down, Yi Tianyun didn't stop at all. He flew towards Lin Hao and kicked him. In the blink of an eye he arrived in front of Lin Hao and kicked him heavily, full of violent power. Lin Hao's face changed, and he quickly took out a treasure that shrouded Yi Tianyun. It was a kind of treasure that was similar to imprisonment, and it seemed to be a high-grade treasure. But for him, it didn't have much meaning. Break for me. He didn't know when, but there was already an endless sword in his hand. He aimed at the treasure and fiercely slashed it. The endless sword made a buzzing sound. At this time, it instantly triggered the double damage. Boom! The halo that was thrown over was split in half by this fierce slash. The light on it dimmed and it fell to the ground like a pile of scrap iron. The majesty of the Empire cannot be violated. Lin Hao roared. He took out a medicinal pill and stuffed it into his mouth. The next moment, a violent force was released from his body. Instantly, his combat power soared. A gigantic sword appeared in his hands. This was a peak-tier soul weapon, and the surface of the sword gleamed with the light of a Grandmaster's divine inscriptions. Ripples of energy radiated outwards, and the tyrannical divine inscriptions on the surface of the sword increased the strength of the gigantic sword to an unimaginable degree. With the work of a Grandmaster, this was definitely a peak-tier soul weapon. As for heaven-grade weapons, they were extremely rare. Only master blacksmiths and above could forge them, and they were priceless. Lin Hao's status was not low, but it did not mean that he was qualified to obtain a heaven-grade weapon. Although it wasn't a heaven-tier armament, it was still a top-tier soul armament paired with a Grandmaster-tier divine rune. It was a terrifying existence that was comparable to a heaven-tier armament. The data from the appraisal eye fully proved the heaven-defying degree of this weapon, as well as Lin Hao's terrifying strength after taking the pill. His combat power skyrocketed from the initial 2.7 million to more than 6 million, completely exceeding most of the core transformation stage's 7th-level experts. However, this was only possible with the combination of burning his blood essence and taking medicinal pills. Under these violent effects, he was able to achieve this. But the side effect was also extremely obvious. After the battle, he would be in an extremely weak state, basically no different from being defenseless. Plus, burning his blood essence would also cause his cultivation to drop. But now, in order to kill Yi Tianyun and maintain the majesty of the Empire, Lin Hao was willing to go all out. Lin Hao's eyes were filled with blood-red light, and his aura was released in circles, which was even stronger than the Netherworld Emperor's shadow. This was the difference between the two. Lin Hao could burst out stronger power with the help of his equipment and pills. But no matter how strong his power was, Yi Tianyun was still a level stronger than him. Fortunately, he had broken through to the core transformation stage, otherwise, he would really die. I want you to die. Lin Hao no longer cared about the Xian Tian divine art. The most important thing now was to save his life. But they were wrong. They thought that the Heaven's top mansion wouldn't be able to cause any trouble, but now they were wrong. Not only will they not cause any trouble, but they will also turn the world upside down. The next moment, Lin Hao rushed towards Yi Tianyun, releasing a violent power from his body, and a mad dragon shadow emerged and wrapped around his body. Unexpectedly, he also stimulated the mad dragon bloodline in his body. He didn't know how much blood essence he absorbed to be able to release this kind of power. His whole body was also covered with dragon scales, but these dragon scales were light green, like emerald. He raised his giant sword and smashed it towards Yi Tianyun. The effect of the Grandmaster level divine rune was amazing. In an instant, more than 10 feet long sword light appeared. Mad Dragon Bloodline. Unfortunately, you met me. Yi Tianyun wasn't afraid at all. He raised the Sword of Infinity in his hand and instantly activated Luck Aura. His luck value suddenly exploded. Yi Tianyun also waved the Sword of Infinity in his hand to block Lin Hao's attack. Perhaps the grade of the Sword of Infinity is not as good as the Sword of Infinity, but its effect is strong. Buzz! Buzz! Yi Tianyun was not disappointed this time. Under the situation where his luck value had increased, coupled with the luck aura, the critical damage effect was triggered at once, double the power of all attacks. The Sword of Infinity was so heaven-defying that it could explode with twice all of his power. This was the most terrifying existence. Under this explosion, his current combat power of more than 7.5 million suddenly soared to 12 million. In an instant, the Sword of Infinity shone to the extreme, and the bright light was so dazzling. Clang! The terrifying power hit the opponent's giant sword, and with a crack, Lin Hao's giant sword was shattered. Even Lin Hao was shaken and flew out, and the terrifying vibration suddenly shattered his arm. Clang! At this time, the Sword of Infinity in Yi Tianyun's hand was also shattered into a pile of fragments and fell to the ground. Obviously, it couldn't withstand such a domineering power, causing the Sword of Infinity to collapse. The Sword of Infinity couldn't be upgraded, so its grade couldn't be upgraded. If the grade couldn't be upgraded, the quality couldn't be upgraded, and the endurance of the sword would naturally be much weaker. Now that it couldn't withstand his power, and it couldn't withstand the power of the collision with the opponent, it turned into a pile of fragments. What a pity! It seems that low-grade weapons can't withstand the current power at all. Yi Tianyun shook his head. Similar to the set that he obtained before, except for the armor on his body, he basically didn't use any weapons. Chapter 253. All of Yi Tianyun's current weapons have a corresponding durability. If they run out of durability, they will break. Of course, durability is not a problem. It can be completely repaired. With his forging ability, he can repair them with just a slight movement of his fingers, so it is not a big problem. But with his current strength, even if the durability is full, under the terrifying power, it will directly explode. Unless the weapon is also upgraded, now without a high-grade soul tool, it really can't bear his violent power. If he doesn't use crazy mode, he will not feel any pressure using these weapons. Originally, with his cultivation, this level of weapons is not a problem. But he is too violent, ordinary weapons simply can't bear it, but the grade of these weapons is not high enough. Proficiency has been increasing, but it is not that easy to increase. He turned his attention back to Lin Hao. Under this crazy attack, Lin Hao was sent flying. The hand that was holding the weapon had been shattered. Blood continuously flowed out from his arm and drooped down, as if he had no bones. His bones are still there, but they have been shattered, and he can't lift them. Even he coughed up blood from the impact. His strength was berserk enough, but it was a pity that he was up against this berserk Sword of Infinity. When his strength was doubled, no one could block it. To be precise, it is not even twice the power, it is only a few million more battle power. Originally, it should have 15 million battle power, but now it is only 12 million, this is the limit of the Infinity Sword. Otherwise, when his cultivation becomes stronger, he can buy another Infinity Sword and continue to erupt, wouldn't it be still heaven-defying? Unfortunately, this is impossible, the limit is like this, unless the Infinity Sword is upgraded to a high grade, then the eruption of power will be completely different. You die for me. Lin Hao crushed a jade pendant and released his power. Immediately, the Netherworld Great Emperor appeared again, but just as he was about to use the Netherworld Divine Palm, Yi Tianyun's figure rushed over and fiercely kicked. Bang! The Netherworld Great Emperor didn't even use the Netherworld Divine Palm, and Yi Tianyun's kick exploded the Netherworld Divine Palm. The same move was completely useless against him. Especially now that he was crazily erupting with power, it was already enough to suppress the Netherworld Great Emperor's projection. Other than this move, are there no other moves? Yi Tianyun looked at him coldly. I am a minister of the Netherworld Empire. If you kill me, the Netherworld Empire will definitely destroy your heaven's top mansion. Lin Hao is furious. Even in the face of death, he still doesn't forget to threaten him. It's like all of you are carved from the same mold. Even when you're at death's door, you still use these words to threaten others. Yi Tianyun said indifferently, others may fall for this trick, but I won't fall for it. Moreover, I've already killed Qing Feng. What's the difference between you and me? It's as if the Netherworld Empire won't destroy our heaven's top mansion if I let you go. No matter what, from the beginning, you already planned to destroy our heaven's top mansion. Why are you talking so much? Lin Hao's face is pale, cold sweat kept coming out from his forehead. He is a minister, he has a bright future ahead of him. Suddenly, the storage ring on Lin Hao's hand flashed, and a divine rune talisman appeared in his hand. He infused his spiritual power into the talisman, and then it turned into a ray of light that enveloped him. The next moment, the light turned into a ray of light and flew out. Lin Hao didn't expect it to be an extremely rare escape talisman. It can increase his flying speed for a short period of time. This is somewhat similar to the effect of the phoenix wings, but the effect is far worse than the phoenix wings. It can only increase the speed by 50% at most. Want to escape? I told you, today is the day you die. A cold light flashed in Yi Tianyun's eyes, but he didn't move at all. Suddenly, the ice divine bow appeared in his hand, and he instantly pulled the longbow to its fullest, and an extreme ice arrow appeared in his hand, aiming at the escaping Lin Hao. After aiming, he quickly let go of the bow, and in the blink of an eye, a blue light burst out, and in the blink of an eye, it caught up with Lin Hao and penetrated his body. The ice arrow that penetrated his body froze him, causing him to fall heavily from the air. With a bang sound, he hit the ground heavily, and then there was no more movement. Ding! Successfully killed Lin Hao. Reward, 2,800. 000 EXP, 16,000 crazy point, 300 SPS, 5. 000 Divine Rune Proficiency. Obtained Absolute Soul Finger, Sky-Shattering Art. Obtained 10 times EXP card, Divine Speed Talisman, Rare, Sky-Shattering Sword, High-Grade Soul Tool, Sky-Shattering Divine Armor, High-Grade Soul Tool, Sky-Shattering Leg Guards, High-Grade Soul Tool. Ding! Successfully killed an opponent above level, gained 30 million EXP, 100,000 crazy point, 30 times EXP card, enhanced lottery roulette ticket. A lot of things dropped at once, and finally, he got a set of equipment, which can replace the previous Chaotic Heaven set. Only, the additional reward was a little too disappointing. It wasn't an additional level. Instead, it was an additional experience points. This wasn't very satisfying. Anyway, at least he can get a lot of rewards. In addition to the previous mansion lord, he got a lot of good things. Sure enough, the higher the level, the easier it is to drop good things, the lower the level is too little. But fighting above level, the mansion lord who is higher than him by 3 or 4 levels, there is no extra reward. Is this not even considered as fighting above level? This is already more than 3 levels, is it not considered fighting above level? It seems that at least a gap of 5 or 6 levels is needed to be considered fighting above level. Yi Tianyun shook his head. It's a pity that the mansion lords didn't drop extra rewards. The extra reward is definitely a very rich type. The best reward is the extra level up. He now needs more than 100 million EXP. He can easily level up a level. How can it not be a good reward? Who knows, there is no extra reward at all. Yi Tianyun didn't think too much about it. He can't do anything if they don't give it to him, so he turned his head and looked at the remaining cultivators coldly. When they saw Yi Tianyun's eyes, their heart trembled. Compared to Yi Tianyun, they are indeed weak, they are indeed weak. Before, they laughed at Heaven's top mansion for being weak, but now it seems that they are the real weak. Please, Mansion Lord Yi, please let us go, we will never tell anyone about this. It really has nothing to do with us, we were all forced to join the Netherworld Empire. They are all scared, with the Black Dragon behind them and Yi Tianyun in front of them, how can they escape? Chapter 254. Yi Tianyun's words exposed their hypocritical mask. When they surrounded them, they didn't feel guilty at all. Instead, their faces were full of eagerness and eagerness. How can this be called coercion? He remembered that Lin Hao didn't let them come up, but instead, they rushed up and wanted to step on them. How can this be called coercion? Their face changed, knowing that it's impossible to escape, they said angrily, if you kill us, the Netherworld Empire will flatten your Heaven's top mansion. Don't worry, I will flatten the Netherworld Empire, you can wait for them below. Yi Tianyun gently waved his hand, and the Black Dragon pressed down on them, followed by endless screams. Soon, all the cultivators here were flattened, including the guards, and a large wave of EXP flowed into Yi Tianyun's head. Especially the sin points and proficiency points, all the elders of the Divine Rune Mansion can earn a lot of proficiency points. The rest of the mansion lords are either practicing forging or alchemy, it can be said that the proficiency card is very suitable for them. He knew that these lord prefects were all extremely fat, and definitely had some ability. Sure enough, after killing them, he would gain around 5,000 mastery points, which instantly equalized quite a few mastery points. If this continues, it won't be difficult to successfully break through to the next level. Ding! 30 times EXP card time is up, ding, 20 times EXP card time is up, fortunately, the EXP card time is up, it's not a waste. Because there are too many of them, Yi Tianyun can't use the Absorbing Star's great technique to extract EXP, which is a bit of a pity. It's all done, let's collect all their belongings. When Yi Tianyun saw that the surrounding area is cleared, he turned to look at the Great Elder and signaled them to collect the loot. The things in their storage rings are absolutely priceless, how can they let go of this opportunity? Oh, okay. They recovered from the shock, so many mansion lords before, each one is stronger than the other, but now they all turned into a pile of corpses. Very quickly, they went to collect all the storage rings and handed them over to Yi Tianyun. Yi Tianyun shook his head and said, you take these spoils of war, when the time comes, select some loyal deacons and disciples to distribute these resources. After all, our Heaven's top mansion is in dire need of resources. The first elder hesitated for a moment before he clenched the storage ring tightly and nodded his head. I will obey the abode master's instructions. All of their faces were glowing with excitement. They felt that the future of Heaven's top mansion was very promising. With such a powerful mansion lord, what was there to be afraid of? As for the situation of Heavenly Jade sect, Yi Tianyun will not treat them unfairly. He just took Lin Hao's storage ring and that is enough. The storage rings of Lin Hao and Qing Feng were more than enough. The treasures inside were much more than the treasures of the other prefecture chiefs combined. In that case, let's leave this place now. We'll take the Black Dragon and leave together. Yi Tianyun took them deep into the palace and left through another exit. If they leave from the outside, they will undoubtedly run into the guards. But he has already killed a lot of them, in theory, there is only a small number of them left, he doesn't need to pay attention to them. After bringing them to another passageway in the palace, he quickly left on the Black Dragon. Before he left, he threw out the inextinguishable flame, completely igniting the place. In an instant, the entire palace was set ablaze. They quickly flew away from the palace. Yi Tianyun was flying while paying attention to the surrounding situation. Once he saw a guard, he immediately took out the ice divine bow and shot an arrow in that direction. Instant kill. He wanted to seal his mouth now. If the Netherworld Empire knew about this, it will definitely be very troublesome for the Heaven's top mansion. Although they may find out later, at least for now, they can't find out. After silencing everyone and burning the place to ashes with the inextinguishable flame, who would still know who killed them? But they can't show themselves for the time being, otherwise it will be very troublesome. The palace is burning, Lin Hao is dead, but Yi Tianyun and the others are not dead. This proves that there is a big problem. After the palace turned into a sea of fire, a lot of guards outside saw it and rushed over. The battle before was not very big, so it did not attract them. The Netherworld Divine Palm was very strong, but it was destroyed by Yi Tianyun's kick, so it didn't cause too much of an impact. What the hell is going on? When they saw the flame inside, they were shocked by this scene. They wanted to rush in to see the situation, but it was already a sea of fire, there is no way to go in. As time passed, the immortal fire quickly burned the entire palace, like a volcano, the flames soared up to the sky. At this time, the sects outside did not go far, they noticed the situation here. It should be said that everyone in the Dragon Gathering City saw this scene. There was no one who couldn't see the towering flames. Unless one was blind, one could clearly see the towering flames. It was truly terrifying. Very quickly, the White Lotus Mansion's Mansion Lord and the others came to check, including the people from the Star Pavilion. In less than 2 hours, they naturally did not leave. Who knew that in such a short time, the palace was already swallowed up by the sea of fire, the flames were burning high, it made people speechless. This is not an ordinary fire, it seems to be a very high-level fire. Li Tianlong saw the fire, his face was solemn. Someone who dares to burn the palace, this is undoubtedly a declaration of war against the Netherworld Empire. That's right, I don't know which power is so strong. Not long after the recruitment, someone already came to destroy them. It seems like none of them managed to escape. They must have died in there. The White Lotus Mansion's mansion master, Qinya, shook her head as she stared at the flames. Li Tianlong sighed, what a pity, such a young grade 4 divine rune master, I don't know how long it will be before another one appears. They took a deep look at the palace, then turned around and left, not wanting to stay here any longer. Some people were gloating, some didn't feel the slightest bit of emotion, some were worried that the world was going to be in chaos. So many experts died inside, there must be some powerful forces involved, they were worried that their sects would be affected. Maybe if the Netherworld Empire is angered, the entire heavenly boundary continent would be shaken. Chapter 255. When Yi Tianyun and the others returned to the Netherworld Empire, the situation in the Dragon Gathering City was quickly reported to the Netherworld Empire. One of the men was walking back and forth in the hall. There were a few people who lowered their heads, not daring to meet the man's gaze. Cold sweat broke out on their foreheads. 2 ministers are dead, even the Dragon Gathering City's palace was burned. But we can't find any clues. The man stopped and looked at them coldly. Your Excellency, this is indeed impossible to find. The palace was completely burned down, and the flames were not ordinary flames. Everything was burned down. No matter what we do, we won't be able to find anything. The minister wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. However, we will find out as soon as possible. As soon as possible? Lord, you looked at him coldly. I don't want you to find out as soon as possible. I want you to find out the truth tomorrow. He released his terrifying aura and pressed down on them. The powerful aura of a void spirit stage expert made them kneel on the ground, their legs softened. We think it's the Heavenly Dragon Empire. Only they can be so bold and have so many strong cultivators. The minister hurriedly mentioned their mortal enemy, the Heavenly Dragon Empire. After thinking for a while, he said, it could also be the spirit race, who has caused the most trouble recently. After seeing us recruiting so many factions, they decided to eliminate them. The minister thought of another enemy and quickly added. He didn't think of the heaven's top mansion. Yi Tianyun killed all the guards that saw them, and the direction of their escape was relatively hidden, so basically no one noticed them. If the minister couldn't find anything, he could only blame it on the Heavenly Dragon Empire or the spirit race. Yes, it's probably them. I think it's the spirit race's problem. Lord Yu's eyes were filled with killing intent. It won't take too much time. Not to mention the spirit race, even the Heavenly Dragon Empire will be destroyed by our Netherworld Empire. A powerful aura was released in all directions, engulfing the entire area. Many things were blown away by this aura. Just by relying on his aura, he was able to create such a terrifying effect. As expected of a void spirit stage expert, Yi Tianyun quickly flew back to Heaven's top mansion with them. Most of the disciples in Heaven's top mansion didn't know what happened. For Yi Tianyun, he had to keep it a secret for the time being. As long as his cultivation continued to rise, even the Empire wouldn't have to worry about him. I'm afraid it won't be easy to deal with stronger cultivators. Yi Tianyun furrowed his brows. Lin Hao's strength was still very strong, especially when he went all out. It was already close to his full strength. If the opponent was 1 or 2 levels stronger, there was no need to say anything more. If a void spirit stage expert were to appear, he couldn't even imagine how terrifying that person's combat strength would be. It was very likely that even if he didn't release anything, he would have more than 5 or 6 million battle power, or even more terrifying. After returning to Heaven's top mansion, the situation in Heaven's top mansion didn't change much. Originally, the Shadow Guard wanted to attack Yi Tianyun, but now that the Shadow Guard was killed by Yi Tianyun, Heaven's top mansion naturally wouldn't have any trouble. When they told them everything, they were deeply shocked, especially when they heard that Yi Tianyun summoned the Black Dragon and killed a group of core transformation experts. They were shocked to the point of no return. So, Mansion Lord Yi, did you save young Shishue and the others? Great Elder asked. That's right, I saved them. Yi Tianyun answered without thinking, it's not a big problem. But why didn't young Shishue recognize you? He Qianhan felt very strange. Yi Tianyun has been in Heavenly Pattern Pavilion for so many times, it's strange that he didn't recognize him. Because this is the face she recognized. Yi Tianyun reached out his hand and wiped his face. Another face appeared in front of everyone. This time everyone was shocked again. It's really shocking. Such a delicate mask, there's no need to be afraid of being recognized. They were shocked, they finally figured out the truth. I thought it was strange that our Heaven's top mansion has such a strong friend. Former mansion lord smiled and said, so it's you, the successor of Spirit King Xian Tian, you're really our good friend. It seems that handing over the position of mansion lord to you is quite the right thing to do. It's just that the situation is a bit more serious now. It's unlikely to find out anything for the time being, but we can't rule out what will happen in the future, so we can't show up for the time being. Yi Tianyun said in a deep voice, everything in the mansion will be managed by Mansion Lord Li for the time being. It's fine as long as nothing changes from before. I'm no longer the mansion lord, I lost my cultivation, I'm not even an elder. Li Xinliang smiled and said, just call me Deacon Li, I'm already quite satisfied to be able to help you manage things here. There's no despair in his eyes, even if he lost his cultivation, at least he survived and now he can leave. Well, then I plan to go back for a while, I'll leave this place to you. Yi Tianyun nodded and said. When he was about to leave, suddenly a deacon came in from outside and said in a panic, Divine Rune Mansion is here to cause trouble, and they even brought a group of people. Divine Rune Mansion. Yi Tianyun frowned. He wanted to say that after killing Nan Fengyun and the others, he doesn't need to worry about Divine Rune Mansion for the time being. He didn't expect that after the mansion lord was killed, this group of trash came to him. He thought for a moment and said, well, take me out to see. The deacon looked at Yi Tianyun, because he doesn't know him. Yi Tianyun is wearing the 100 transformation mask, of course he doesn't know him. Take him out, let him decide. Li Xinliang raised his hand and said, he didn't explain anything. Immediately, the deacon nodded and led Yi Tianyun outside. He didn't go out, but he heard someone shouting from outside. Trash Heaven's top mansion. You dare to kill our young master. If you don't give us an explanation, we will destroy you. Yi Tianyun said. Divine Rune Mansion destroy our Heaven's top mansion. Yang Yu was standing in front of them, looking at them and sneered, if you have the ability, come. Who's afraid of who? And you bunch of traitors, you actually betrayed your sect, and now you're still standing on Divine Rune Mansion's side. Yang Yu, I advise you to get out of here, otherwise you won't even know how you die. The traitor on the other side sneered, standing on the Divine Rune Mansion's side arrogantly. You. Yang Yu was angry, but when he was about to say something, a hand climbed on his shoulder, stopping him. Hey, who is this brother? You look a little unfamiliar. Yang Yu looked at Yi Tianyun strangely. It's nothing, I just came to see. Yi Tianyun looked up and saw an acquaintance standing there, it was Li Huan. Previously, he was seriously injured, and now he was carried on a stretcher to collect the debt. Obviously, he wanted to make up for his mistake. Chapter 256. Benefactor. At this time, Yang Shishue looked at Yi Tianyun in shock. Yi Tianyun was wearing the same mask that he wore when he saved them, so she immediately recognized him. What, he is the benefactor who saved my sister. Yang Yu looked at him from head to toe and immediately grabbed his hand, thank you for saving my sister. No wonder my sister is always in a trance, this friend is so young and dignified, at first glance, I know he is good enough to be my brother-in-law. Yang Yu. Yang Shishue stretched out her hand and hit him to make him shut up. Sister, weren't you in a trance when you looked out of the window, as if you were thinking about something, you still dare to say it? Yang Shishue glared at him, her pretty face blushed. Her heart really fell on Yi Tianyun, in such a desperate situation, a handsome young man came to save her, which woman wouldn't be moved? Enough. At this moment, Feng Yulong glared at them from the side. With the recovery of the elixir, he could already walk easily, but his face was still swollen. His previous handsome appearance was temporarily gone. You are the fiancé of our Feng family, how dare you flirt with other men? Shishue, I will give you one last chance, choose to stand on my side, otherwise, don't blame me for what happens. Go with you. Yang Shishue sneered, impossible, and I will not betray the sect like you. Betray the sect? Feng Yulong sneered, this is the right choice, what's the point of staying in this declining Heaven's top mansion? God Rune Mansion is our best choice. I admit that Heaven's top mansion is declining, but how can you betray the sect so easily? If you want to leave here, you must follow the rules. You said you betrayed the sect, it's simply treason. Yang Shishue said coldly. Follow the normal rules. Feng Yulong laughed, it's nothing more than paying a little price, but think about it, what did Heaven's top mansion give us? It's just some broken medicinal pellets, some ordinary cultivation place, it's simply intolerable. He directly exploded. Under normal circumstances, if you want to leave the sect, you need to pay a lot of resources. For example, how many 3rd and 4th grade medicinal pills were needed before one could leave the sect? They had nurtured him for so long and spent so many resources on him. It was clearly against the rules for him to leave just like that. When it comes to this matter, Feng Yulong's whole body exploded, his eyes are full of contempt and disdain, he feels that staying in Heaven's top mansion is like living in a dog kennel. In front of a great enemy, they were still talking about romantic matters. How could they not be angry? All of them were glaring at them. The 2 elders, who were the strongest among them, were spirit core stage cultivators. There were also a few deacons standing on the side, looking coldly at them. They are not in a hurry to take action, they just want to let these young people have a good time and trample on Heaven's top mansion's face. Little did they know that their palace lord was already dead. It was just that the news had not been sent back so quickly. Otherwise, they would not have had the right to be so arrogant. They would have obediently gone back to deal with the aftermath. Heaven's top mansion's resources are lacking, but we have given you the best, and we will do our best to train you. Since you think Heaven's top mansion is lacking, why did you choose to join? Tianyun stood up, he looked at them coldly and said, without Heaven's top mansion's training, I think you can't even enter the Divine Rune Mansion's door. This is the truth, although their family is not small, they still lack some resources, such as Divine Rune knowledge, which a small family can't provide. If Heaven's top mansion didn't dig out their potential, they can't even enter the door. But they kept complaining, and even occupied most of the resources, which made him very angry. He hates betrayal the most, especially this kind of betrayal. This is the best they can give, but they are not satisfied, and greedy enough, they even made a mess in Heavenly Rune Pavilion. You little brat, what are you talking about? Feng Yulong was angry, he pointed at Tianyun and said in a cold voice, you can't even enter the door, what kind of bullshit benefactor, I think you are just fooling around. I will give you one last chance, are you willing to come with me? If you don't come with me, don't regret it later. Feng Yulong, I said, I will never go with you. Yang Shishue said in a cold voice, traitor. Good, good, good. Feng Yulong's cold eyes glanced at everyone, then sneered, very good. Let me tell you one thing, that arrogant kid killed the mansion lord's direct disciple, this time your Heaven's top mansion is finished. What? He killed the direct disciple of the Divine Rune Manor's manor master. They were stunned, they never thought that Tianyun would cause such a big trouble, this time the problem is serious. Where is your elder? Elder Shao Jia stood up and glanced at them, only Tianyun and a deacon came out, no one else came out. I am in charge of this matter, what do you want? Tianyun said. You can take responsibility. Elder Shao Jia looked at him coldly and said, that's fine, our mansion lord's direct disciple was killed, and now your murderer is going to be caught and killed by our mansion lord, but this matter won't end so easily. You must compensate us with a batch of medicinal pills and weapons. I don't know if you want to bring it yourself, or do we go in and take it ourselves? After saying this, their imposing aura fiercely pressed towards the mansion lord's side. It seems to be polite, but it's full of arrogance. Their complexion changed, this matter can be said to be quite serious, no wonder so many people gathered in front of Heaven's top mansion. Compensation my ass. Yang Yu angrily said, it must be your people who provoked the boss, otherwise how could the boss make a move? Compensation, you should compensate us. Each and every one of you betrayed the sect, you will be punished by abolishing your cultivation. Elder Shao, it seems that they are still stubborn. Feng Yulong sneered, I suggest we kill all the way in and give them a taste of our strength, otherwise they will think that our Divine Rune Mansion is easy to bully. They killed our young master, and now they are still resisting, what kind of punishment do they deserve? Feng Yulong's heart is already angry, now he just wants to take revenge, he wants to catch Yang Yu and beat her up to vent his anger. Elder Shao Jia looked at the crowd, his eyes are cold, it seems that you want us to take it ourselves. Well, all of you, I want you all to take everything away. The more you collect, the more credit you will get. When Mansion Lord Nan comes back, I will report one by one. Good. Everyone is excited, as if they can see the reward. The next moment, they all rushed forward, Feng Yulong is the leader, Yang Yu and the others are also ready to resist. However, a figure had already swept over and sent Feng Yulong, who was at the forefront, flying with a single kick. Feng Yulong was directly sent flying and spat out a mouthful of blood. After rolling on the ground a few times, he stopped breathing. Chapter 257. Ding, successfully killed Feng Yulong. Reward, 7,800 EXP, 1,800 Crazy Point, 50 SPs, 100 Divine Rune Mastery Points. Obtained Flying Cloud Sword Technique, Chaotic Cloud Steps. Killing Feng Yulong with one kick is not difficult at all. Feng Yulong's cultivation is very weak, so killing him is like stepping on an ant. You killed Brother Feng. Liao Wen, who also betrayed his sect, looked at Yi Tianyun and said angrily, You dare to resist. The next moment, Yi Tianyun flashed in front of him and kicked him. Liao Wen was also kicked away and died instantly. Ding, successfully killed Liao Wen. Reward, 6,500 EXP, 1,500 Crazy Point, 20 SPs, 100 Divine Rune Mastery Points, death penalty. He didn't show any mercy and killed those who deserved to be killed without mercy. No one could see how he moved at such a shocking speed, not even the elders could see it. This speed is too fast to believe. Yang Shishue's eyes lit up when she saw the situation. She knew that Yi Tianyun was strong, and she knew that Yi Tianyun was strong. Death penalty. Yi Tianyun didn't stop and continued to kick to the side. One by one, the disciples who betrayed his sect were kicked away, and the result is death. Yi Tianyun never kills randomly, but when he really wants to kill, he can't stop. Death penalty. Death penalty. Death penalty. With one kick, Yi Tianyun easily killed a lot of disciples who betrayed his sect. Stop! Elder Shao Jia roared and his spirit core stage cultivation erupted. Killing these disciples in front of him was equivalent to slapping him in the face. How could he tolerate this? But he didn't rush over. Yi Tianyun already rushed in front of him and kicked him. Thump! Elder Shao Jia was also kicked away, his internal organs were destroyed, and he fell to the ground dead. Bullying our heaven's top mansion is a capital offense. Yi Tianyun looked coldly at the people who were still standing. I've listened to your nonsense for half a day. It's time to clean up the trash. Do you really think our heaven's top mansion is easy to bully? The dignity of our heaven's top mansion cannot be violated. Well said. Although our heaven's top mansion is weak, I am honored to be a disciple of heaven's top mansion, and I am willing to defend its dignity. Yang Yu said angrily, Everyone, let's get them out of here. Under Yang Yu's guidance, all of them seemed to have been injected with chicken blood. They all rushed over and fought with them. Their cultivation was not high, but it did not mean that they could not fight. Yi Tianyun's eyes lit up. Only with this kind of disciple could a sect have hope of reviving. If every single one of them betrayed the sect, or if they were filled with despair and had no sense of belonging, then the sect would definitely be finished. Well, let's get rid of them together. Yi Tianyun's eyes flashed, and he rushed to another elder. This elder's cultivation was the highest. After killing him, then everything will be solved. You are the enemy of Divine Rune Mansion. You are tired of living. The remaining elders saw Yi Tianyun rushing over, and his face turned pale. His companion was killed by Yi Tianyun's foot. He immediately knew that the young man in front of him was very strong. No, now you are tired of living. Yi Tianyun said as he kicked the elder, sending him flying and killing him instantly. Successfully killed Divine Rune Mansion's elder, gaining 240. 000 EXP, 3200 Crazy Point, 50 SPs, 500 Divine Rune Mastery. When killing an elder, Yi Tianyun must activate the crazy mode, he can't let it go to waste. The others also didn't fall behind, they took out their weapons and attacked the Divine Rune Mansion's disciple. Their weapons were engraved with their own divine rune, so their powers suddenly increased. But the Divine Rune Mansion's disciple is also not bad, but now that the elder is dead, their morale is low, they just turned around and ran away, they don't dare to resist. Li Huan, who was seriously injured and couldn't move, was dumbfounded. Originally, he came here to watch a good show, but now he can't escape. Who can take me away? Li Huan struggled to climb up, but his serious injury made it difficult for him to move. Do you want me to help you? Yi Tianyun flashed in front of him and looked at him with a charming face. You killed me, the Mansion Lord will avenge us. Your heaven's top mansion is doomed to be destroyed. Not only you killed our young lord, but also so many of our people. My death, your heaven's top mansion will be buried with me. Li Huan was desperate. He knows that he can't escape, no matter how he begs for mercy, he might as well go all out. Is that so? But unfortunately, the one who will be buried with you is not our heaven's top mansion, but your mansion lord and your divine rune mansion. Yi Tianyun smiled coldly. He took off the 100 transformation mask, revealing a familiar face. After Li Huan saw clearly, his face became pale. He looked at Yi Tianyun and said, How can it be you? Yi Tianyun put back the mask, smiled and said, Of course it's me. Don't worry, your mansion lord is dead, you can rest in peace. As soon as he finished his words, Yi Tianyun kicked Li Huan, and with a bang sound, Li Huan was kicked out. Ding, successfully killed Li Huan, gained experience. Soon, this place was cleared, there is basically no one left alive. Yi Tianyun is very ruthless. After the other disciples killed them, their face is not very good, they basically haven't killed anyone before, some of them even killed for the first time. But if they don't do this, they will be killed, they have no choice. Clean up here, I will leave for the time being. Yi Tianyun's eyes flashed. Benefactor, where are you going? Yang Shishue hurriedly shouted. To deal with some things, some places, I wanted to let them exist for a long time, but now it seems that there is no need to. The place Yi Tianyun wants to go to is very simple, that is Divine Rune Mansion. At first, he thought that it is the problem of the upper echelons, but now it seems that the problem is rotten to the bone. If that is the case, there is no need for Divine Rune Mansion to exist, let him uproot it completely. When he left, Yang Yu patted her sister's shoulder and said, Sister, he has already left. What are you still looking at? No wonder other men don't like him, but you like him, right? In fact, I think the boss is also not bad. Go to hell. Yang Shishue coldly said, If you think the boss is good, then marry him yourself. Chapter 258. Yi Tianyun rode the black dragon and quickly rushed to Divine Rune Mansion. He is not afraid of being exposed, he wants to be completely exposed. Anyway, no one knows his true identity, and no one will contact Heaven's top mansion, so there won't be any problem. Ding, successfully accepted, eradicate the scourge of Divine Rune Mansion, quest, successfully gained 10 million EXP, 100. 000 crazy points, 1 tyrant rune paper, 1 enhancement roulette lottery, 100 prestige points, 1000 spitz points. It seems that the system can't stand it anymore. Yi Tianyun's eyes twinkled. Now it is rare to see the system release such a task. It seems that there are certain conditions to trigger the task, those people or sects will definitely not trigger the task. At the same time, Divine Rune Mansion is also discussing the same issue. I don't know how many resources the elders will bring back. Maybe they will bring back a lot of medicinal pills, and a lot of weapons, so we can benefit from it. Bullshit. You didn't go, and you expect the elders to give you medicinal pills? If only we could go, we can go to Heaven's top mansion and rob their things, hee hee. If there are beautiful female disciples, we will be happy. No matter what, they killed our young master, this time Heaven's top mansion will definitely die. A trash sect, dare to be arrogant in front of us, it's best to kill them all and occupy the whole Heaven's top mansion. This is really hard to say. If I go, I will definitely wipe out Heaven's top mansion. Unfortunately, I can't go at all, only a small number of people can go. They all sighed deeply, but they are looking forward to the elders' return, bringing back a lot of resources, not to eat meat, but to drink soup. The entire Divine Rune Mansion is looking forward to the elders' return, but they didn't wait for the elders to come back, they saw a black dragon coming towards them. When they saw a huge black dragon falling from the sky, many disciples were shocked. Black dragon. What's going on? How can there be a divine beast? Quick, look up there. Someone is riding a black dragon. They were all stunned, but it quickly turned into endless fear. As soon as the divine beast black dragon flew down, it aimed at the surroundings and spat out flames. The flames quickly burned and spread in all directions. Its gigantic body continued to charge towards the houses, flattening them one by one. Yi Tianyun stood on top of it, staring down at the scene below. Flatten them all for me, destroy this divine inscription manor for me. From today onwards, the divine rune manor will no longer exist. Boom! The black dragon crazily stomped on the house and continuously spat out flames to burn the surroundings. Some of the disciples did not escape in time and were burned by the flames, which then turned into experience points that flowed into the system. Yi Tianyun didn't go out of his way to kill these disciples. He only wanted to completely destroy this divine inscription manor. As for the other disciples, they would run if they could, but if they tried to stop him, then only death awaited them. Who dares to destroy our divine inscription manor? Several elders flew out from inside. Although Nan Fengyun took away a lot of elders, there were still many elders inside. One by one, the spirit core experts surrounded the black dragon. When they saw the aura released by the black dragon, their hearts trembled a bit. The aura of this divine beast was too strong, it was a lot stronger than them. Their cultivation was only at the 3rd or 4th level of the spirit core realm, and the higher ones were at the 5th or 6th level. But compared to the black dragon's 8th or 9th level of the spirit core realm, it was simply not enough. I'm here to kill you. Yi Tianyun's eyes turned cold, and he commanded the black dragon to pounce forward. It opened its mouth and spat out a terrifying flame. The flame's speed was much faster than before, and a huge fireball was also spat out. These elders were so frightened that they hurriedly fled to the side, but their speed was still a bit too slow. A loud bang rang out, and the area where the elder was just standing was blasted into a deep pit, turning into a sea of flames. The black dragon's flame was too overbearing. It didn't know any martial arts, but its huge physique and terrifying flame was enough to crush everything. Ding successfully killed the divine inscription manor's elder. Reward, 270. 000 EXP, 3300 crazy point, 100 SPS, 500 divine rune proficiency points. Obtained martial art autumn moon palm, soul separation art. Obtained divine rune paper, heaven feather pen, mid-grade soul tool. Ding successfully killed the divine inscription manor's elder. Reward, 260. 000 EXP, so high sin value. It seems that you have done a lot of evil, otherwise, your sin value wouldn't be so high. Yi Tianyun sneered, I can't miss this opportunity, there are so many divine rune proficiency points. Immediately, he opened the shop and bought a 5 times proficiency card, a 2 times sin value card, and even an experience card. All of a sudden, a lot of experience cards stacked up. He spent hundreds of thousands of crazy point in the merchant shop, but he didn't care at all. The only thing that mattered was leveling up, and the crazy point was for this. Kill them. Yi Tianyun didn't hesitate to control the black dragon to step on the elder's body. The elder who was seriously injured by the black dragon was instantly trampled to death. Ding successfully killed the divine inscription manor's elder. Reward, 1,200,000 EXP, 16,500 crazy point, 200 SPS, 2,500 divine rune proficiency points. Obtained martial art. After using the experience card, the data suddenly exploded. It was an all-around improvement. This was the feeling he needed. If this continues, he can upgrade from Advanced Divine Rune Proficiency to Grandmaster Divine Rune Proficiency. Along the way, Yi Tianyun completely crushed the Divine Rune Proficiency, none of them could resist, and quickly fled in all directions. He doesn't care about ordinary disciples, after all, the Divine Rune Manor is not controlled by them, but these elders. Elder and Deacon level, he can kill as soon as he sees them, he can't stop. Want to escape? Yi Tianyun took out the ice divine bow, aimed at the fleeing elder, and shot an arrow. Xiao, the arrow easily penetrated the elder. The elder let out a blood-curdling screech before turning into an ice sculpture. Moreover, it was a dead ice sculpture. His body was completely frozen, and naturally looked like an ice sculpture. Immediately after being trampled by the black dragon, the elder turned into a pile of ice slag. When Yi Tianyun continued to kill, suddenly the surrounding sky changed color, layers of black clouds filled the entire sky, lightning flashed, and thunder rumbled. At the same time, a huge array lit up on the ground. Obviously Yi Tianyun stepped into the array. Kaboom! At this time, a thick lightning fell from the sky, directly hit Yi Tianyun, completely covering him. Ha, let's see if you can survive. It's not that easy to deal with our divine rune manner. The elder's expression was hideous. When they fled here, he activated the heavenly lightning array. Dense lightning immediately gathered and struck the intruder. But immediately, his eyes full of hatred turned into horror. He looked at Yi Tianyun, who was struck by lightning, and there was no problem at all. Thank you for your hospitality, this lightning energy is not bad, I got a lot of EXP. Yi Tianyun looked at him coldly. The power of the heavenly lightning array is not bad. If his cultivation was lower, he would definitely be injured, just like last time when he saved Shao Qingxian. Chapter 259. As a sect that specializes in practicing divine runes, it is normal to have several large arrays. Among them, the power of the heavenly thunder array is very strong. The lightning that struck down was comparable to the attack of a 5th or 6th level core transformation stage cultivator, but for him, it was no pressure at all. In an instant, he swallowed the lightning into his body and turned it into a huge wave of experience. Of course, compared to the experience he needed to level up now, it was only a drop in the ocean. No, impossible. Go to hell, go to hell. The elder madly controlled the large array, making the heavenly thunder array operate crazily. The sky flashed with lightning and thunder, and continued to strike down crazily, constantly bombarding his body. Boom, boom. Absorb it for me. Yi Tianyun stretched out his hand and guided the lightning into his body, turning it into a lot of experience, 580,000 experience points, 59 experience points, 570,000 experience points. His experience continued to jump. Under the 58-fold experience boost, his experience was exploding. Correspondingly, under the effect of the crazy mode proficiency card, his proficiency suddenly exploded. 5 times proficiency card, plus 2 times proficiency of crazy mode, a total of 7 times proficiency. However, to increase proficiency of divine rune proficiency, only the proficiency card has an effect. Under normal circumstances, the 2 times proficiency in crazy mode is not applicable. It is only applicable to weapon proficiency and martial arts proficiency. Successfully upgraded Absorbing Star's great technique to high-grade Earth-level martial arts. At this time, the Absorbing Star's great technique finally broke through to high-grade Earth-level martial arts, and the original power of absorption suddenly soared, from the original 6 times, exploded to the effect of 18 times. Hoo. Like a huge whirlpool, the lightning around it was sucked in, and even the black clouds in the sky were madly absorbed by it. However, due to the limitations of the Dark North Divine Art, the experience absorbed was still about the same. After all, it was the Dark North Divine Art, not the Absorbing Star's great technique. The Absorbing Star's great technique only greatly enhanced the suction. Whether you can absorb it or not, it will all be absorbed. But after a while, the Heavenly Thunder Array could not release lightning. This kind of large array also needs to be relieved. The energy provided by spirit stones and other energy is gone, so after the absorption, there is no lightning. What, no more? Yi Tianyun looked down at the clan elders in the distance, scaring them out of their wits. Such a powerful heavenly lightning formation had no effect on him at all. He's not human at all. There's no effect at all. What kind of power is this? They were all stunned. This was the heavenly lightning formation that they were so proud of. As long as it wasn't a super expert, it would be able to strike anyone to death. However, this young man in front of them didn't seem to be affected at all. Die! Yi Tianyun raised his ice frost divine bow and quickly pulled the bowstring. With a whang sound, 3 blue ice arrows pierced through the air. The opponent didn't even have time to dodge and was pierced through by the ice arrows. 3 birds with 1 arrow. Successfully killed Divine Rune Mansion's Elder. Reward, 100. 000 EXP, 150. 000 Crazy Point, 200 SPs, 2500 Divine Rune Proficiency. Obtained Absolute Soul Finger, Moon Curling Divine Art. Reward, Divine Rune Paper, Imperial Spirit Brush. Successfully killed Divine Rune Mansion's Deacon. Reward, 560,000 EXP, 11,000 Crazy Point, 150 SPs, 1,000 Divine Rune Proficiency. Obtained Absolute Soul Finger, Flame Divine Art. Reward, Divine Rune Paper, Imperial Spirit Brush. Ding! Successfully killed 3 birds with 1 arrow, directly killing the Divine Rune Mansion's Elder and Deacon. Even without them, the Heavenly Lightning Formation is still running. It just needs to be charged for a while, and after a while, it will continue to strike. Explode! Yi Tianyun controlled the black dragon to step forward, and with a loud bang, a deep pit appeared on the ground, and then it continued to step down, and another big pit appeared on the ground. Soon the whole ground collapsed, and the black clouds above completely dissipated, which means that the Heavenly Lightning Formation is destroyed. Since he wants to destroy the entire Divine Rune Mansion, then he must completely destroy all the buildings here. After he destroyed the Heavenly Lightning Array, he continued to kill his way over. Other than killing the elders, he also kept on collecting the treasures. He couldn't let this go. What kind of situation is the fastest way to get resources? Of course, it is to plunder the other party's resources. The Netherworld Empire and Divine Rune Mansion have done this kind of thing too many times. When he destroyed all the buildings along the way, most of the people here have already escaped. The Divine Rune Mansion's disciples are not that many, and the number of disciples who cultivate divine runes is relatively small, so it is easy to clean them up. The most important thing is that they have escaped, so there is not much value in killing them. Some of the Divine Rune Mansion's disciples are still ignorant, so they are innocent. Only those upper echelon elders were the main culprits. There is a strange aura. Yi Tianyun felt that something is wrong, and a natural sense of crisis came from his heart. Although his cultivation is not weak, it does not mean that he is absolutely invincible, so he must be careful. At this time, he immediately opened the heavenly eye, and the situation around him immediately appeared in front of him. There is a large formation set up in the surrounding houses, and when the houses are connected together, it is a very special formation. This is the God Exterminating Formation. This God Exterminating Formation is not really able to exterminate the gods, but the level of naming it is very high. What God Exterminating Formation, what divine art, is actually Earth-level martial art. Every creator hoped that their own martial arts would become a deity technique. Therefore, the deity techniques obtained from killing the elders were mostly middle-grade Earth-level martial arts. At most, they were only upper grade. How could this be called a deity technique? However, the God Exterminating Formation in front of him is very powerful. Looking at the surging energy in the formation, coupled with the appraisal eye, the effect instantly appeared in front of him. God Exterminating Formation, gather all the energy in the formation and bombard it, easily destroy the enemy, can only attack once a week, the power reaches the peak of the core transformation stage. As expected of the God-slaying formation, its power was much stronger than the Sky Lightning Formation. When the condensed power blasted over, its penetrative power was very strong. If he rashly walks in, he will definitely be blasted into pieces. Interesting, is it trying to lure me in? Yi Tianyun looked up, and vaguely felt that there are a few hidden auras in front of him, it seems that they are waiting for him to pass. He grinned, but it is a pity that you met me, this God Exterminating Formation is useless. Immediately, Yi Tianyun rode the black dragon and rushed forward, and the deacons and elders who were hiding in the distance were stunned. Chapter 260. Look, he is really going to rush over. It seems that he thinks that he is too strong, so he doesn't care about anything else. Our god-slaying formation can kill even a late-stage core transformation stage powerhouse. Their expressions were ferocious, and their heartbeats accelerated a few times. They were ready to witness a powerhouse and a black dragon die under this god-slaying formation. Yi Tianyun didn't seem to be on guard at all, and he continued to destroy everything along the way. The moment he stepped into the god-slaying formation, the entire god-slaying formation lit up. Almost instantly, a huge eye condensed in the air and slowly opened its eyes. A terrifying gray light beam burst out towards him at an amazing speed. Shio! This gray light beam was like the light of death that came to the human world. Wherever it went, everything withered or quickly decayed. The terrifying corrosive power was the strongest power that Yi Tianyun had ever seen. However, no matter how strong it was at most the power of a peak core transformation stage cultivator. The data in the appraisal eye proved that he could completely resist this attack. 7. 3 million combat power. Absorbing Star's great technique, activate. Yi Tianyun's eyes flashed with a cold light, and a terrifying vortex appeared in his palm, which suddenly swallowed the god-slaying light. He swallowed as much as he could. The excess was melted away. This was the strength of the Absorbing Star's great technique. It could dissolve the opponent's power. If the body could withstand it, it would absorb it, and if it couldn't, it would dissolve it. Under his frenzied devouring, he managed to forcefully endure the god extermination light. Just like the lightning from before, it was devoured by him. It was still a little difficult, but given his current situation, it wasn't too difficult. This move came very quickly, and it also left very quickly. After persisting for around 10 seconds, the huge eye slowly closed its eyes with some unwillingness in its eyes. Soon after, it disappeared into thin air. Yi Tianyun's situation didn't change, and he was unscathed. With the help of his Xian Tian divine art, it was difficult for him to be injured, and he completely absorbed the god-slaying light. He absorbed this energy. They were all stunned. Such a terrifying god-exterminating light was absorbed just like that. They couldn't believe it. Others who came into contact with this god of destruction light would turn into ashes, but in front of him, they were all absorbed. This was too terrifying. Following that, a few ice arrows pierced through the thick walls and even pierced through them. Their eyes widened, and they were immediately frozen by the ice arrows. They no longer had any signs of life. After Yi Tianyun put away the ice divine bow, his eyes were cold as he said, "Flatten this place." The black dragon roared furiously and stomped on the ground. It continuously spewed out flames, burning the entire place. The god-exterminating array was quickly destroyed by him. Wherever he went, there was nothing that wasn't destroyed. As he continued to go deeper, the sky was once again shrouded by dark clouds. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled in the dark clouds, surging towards him. In the dark clouds, 2 old men flew towards him. Each of them had dazzling divine runes on their bodies. Their divine runes were engraved on their bodies, making them look like the god of thunder. Lightning constantly fell from the dark clouds and poured into their bodies, lighting up the divine runes on their bodies. The terrifying aura of a core transformation stage powerhouse was constantly oppressing them. It's the old ancestor. The old ancestor has come out. The deacons who were hiding in the corner shouted loudly. They immediately felt relieved when they saw the old ancestor. After all, these were the 2 strongest old ancestors in the Divine Inscription Palace. I don't know which force you are from, but you have disturbed our seclusion and destroyed our Divine Inscription Palace. That's a capital crime. Ancestor Heavenly Thunder's voice rumbled like thunder. Just his voice alone was like a wave of sound waves that swept towards them, causing lightning to flash and thunder to rumble. It was deafening. Ancestor Heavenly Thunder, Cultivation Level, 8th Level of Core Transformation Stage. His whole body is engraved with thunder attribute divine runes. He can burst out extremely strong thunder power. Current Comprehensive Combat Power, 15 million. Weakness, Earth Attribute suppresses and restrains him. Martial Art, Thunder Flash, Heavenly Thunder Spell. Possible things to drop include Thunder Flash, Heavenly Thunder Spell, Thunder Divine Runes, Lightning Power, Old Ancestor Tyrant Thunder, Cultivation Level, Peak of Core Transformation Stage. His whole body is engraved with thunder attribute divine runes. He can burst out extremely strong thunder power. Current Comprehensive Combat Power, 5 million. Weakness, Earth Attribute suppresses and restrains him. Martial Art, both of them knew the same thing. The only difference was their cultivation level. Both of them could control Thunder Attribute Force. They specialized in Thunder Attribute Force, which was considered a relatively special type of Thunder Attribute Force. Their combat power was also heaven-defying. Old Ancestor Tyrant Thunder's combat power was as high as 5 million. He didn't even use it, but it had already reached such an amazing level. Obviously, the Phantom of the Netherworld Great Emperor released before was at best a strike of a peak core transformation stage powerhouse. It couldn't release the real strength of a peak core transformation stage powerhouse. Tianyun had already expected this, so he didn't feel surprised. This is the real strength of a peak core transformation stage powerhouse. Tianyun was a little excited. He didn't feel the slightest bit of fear in his heart. So what if the Netherworld Great Emperor was at the peak of core transformation stage? Death penalty? Tianyun sneered. He took out a talisman and crushed it. Then, the Phantom of the Netherworld Great Emperor appeared in the air and looked at the ground and the powerhouse in front of him. Netherworld Great Emperor. They were shocked after seeing this scene. Even the disciples of the Divine Inscription Mansion who were watching from afar were shocked. How could the Netherworld Great Emperor appear in this place? How can you have the talisman of the Netherworld Great Emperor? Old Ancestor Heavenly Thunder was shocked. Are you from the Netherworld Empire? What do you think? This was the effect that Tianyun wanted. He wanted to confuse everyone and make them think that he was from the Netherworld Empire. When the time comes, those disciples who escaped from the Divine Inscription Mansion would spread the news that the Netherworld Great Emperor had sent people to destroy the Divine Inscription Mansion. In the next moment, the Netherworld Great Emperor released his most powerful attack towards the two old ancestors, Netherworld Divine Palm. The attack was still the same, the power was still the same. Old Ancestor Heavenly Thunder stretched out his hand and pointed a finger at the Netherworld Divine Palm. A lightning bolt struck towards the Netherworld Divine Palm and turned it into ashes. This was the difference between the two of them. Although Old Ancestor Heavenly Thunder was not at the peak of core transformation stage, it was still not a problem for him to destroy the Phantom of the Netherworld Great Emperor. If you are from the Netherworld Empire, then what did our Divine Rune Mansion do wrong? Why did they send you here to suppress our Divine Rune Mansion? They looked at Tianyun coldly and said. Chapter 261. Ignorant, overbearing, ruthless. Ancestor Heavenly Thunder was stunned for a moment, then he sneered, who can be more overbearing than the Netherworld Empire? I don't know if you are a member of the Netherworld Empire or not, but even if you are, you have to pay the price for killing so many of our people. After saying that, Ancestor Heavenly Thunder slammed his palm down. The dense divine runes on his body flashed crazily, and the power of thunder and lightning quickly gathered in the air, forming a huge shadow of thunder and lightning on the surface of his body. Under the superposition of the power of thunder and lightning, his combat power skyrocketed. 6 million. 7 million. 8 million. 6 million. Finally, After increasing his combat power by a few million, he was able to suppress Yi Tianyun's strength. After all, an old ancestor was an old ancestor. The power of these old bastards was not just for show. The ministers he had met before were not even as powerful as these patriarchs. They were simply too powerful, to an unimaginable degree. It was inevitable that Yi Tianyun's strength would surpass Yi Tianyun's. Even if Yi Tianyun's strength was 8 times stronger, Yi Tianyun would still be easily suppressed. His cultivation level was too low. His cultivation level was only at the first level of core transformation stage, but his cultivation level was only at the 7th or 8th level of core transformation stage. It was not as simple as stacking 8 times of his strength to match the strength of the 8th level of core transformation stage. The gap between Yi Tianyun and Yi Tianyun was getting bigger and bigger. Yi Tianyun's strength was already higher than Yi Tianyun's. Even if you have a divine beast, you will still die. The divine runes on Ancestor Heavenly Thunder's body flashed, and then a long spear appeared in his hand. In an instant, it seemed like he was not holding a spear, but a lightning bolt. Thunder flash. In the next moment, a ray of lightning shot out from Heavenly Thunder Ancestor's eyes and instantly turned into a bolt of lightning that pierced through the sky. It was so fast that it really turned into a bolt of lightning that slashed down heavily, cutting through the sky. 9 million. 9, 5 million. 10 million. 11 million. The power of the thunder flash exploded, and with the power of the weapon, Yi Tianyun's combat power instantly soared to 11 million. The crazy data was jumping in front of his eyes, shocking him to the core. Yi Tianyun raised the Ice Frost Divine Bow in his hand and instantly pulled the bowstring to its maximum. A thick ice arrow appeared on the bowstring, much thicker than any of the previous ones. This is the effect of consuming Crazy Point, Frozen Fury. The crazy superposition of double strength was already equivalent to the Sword of Infinity, even stronger than the Swordless Sword. Whiz! The entire Ice Divine Bow shone to the extreme, and the energy on this ice arrow flickered crazily. Its battle power soared crazily, and all of a sudden, it jumped to an even more terrifying number, 15 million battle power. Crush, completely crush this Heavenly Thunder ancestor who was rushing over. Frost Fury. Swish swish swish. When the frost arrow shot out, it instantly froze the surrounding air. The temperature directly dropped to freezing point, and everywhere it went was frozen. When it shot out, it instantly turned into a huge phoenix, piercing towards Heavenly Thunder Ancestor. Heavenly Thunder Ancestor's face changed, he felt a sense of crisis. He wanted to escape, but found that he was completely locked, and there was no way to escape. Immediately, the Thunder Divine rune on his body was released instantly, and his power surged again. Originally, he wanted to test Yi Tianyun, but he did not expect this terrifying power to exceed his imagination. Boom! The two collided together, and Heavenly Thunder Ancestor was blasted out, a large area of his body was frozen, and many places were directly frostbitten. The overbearing Frost Fury directly suppressed Heavenly Thunder Ancestor. Bastard! Great Ancestor Heavenly Thunder roared, and the divine runes on his body lit up again. The frozen ice on his body instantly shattered into ice shards, and his body regained its mobility. However, the arrow had already injured him. Several parts of his body had already turned pitch black. It was obvious that he had suffered frostbite. Swish swish swish. 3 consecutive ice arrows pierced through the air. This time, it wasn't the Frozen Fury. The Frozen Fury had a cooldown, so he had to slow it down a little. The entire process took a full 5 minutes, which was quite impressive. Therefore, in order to resist Heavenly Thunder Ancestor, Yi Tianyun can only choose to use ordinary attacks, but the power is also amazing. Each arrow has a battle power of 7 or 8 million, and the power is quite amazing. Get out of my way! Heavenly Thunder Ancestor roared, and swept his spear across, shattering the incoming frost arrows. They did not harm him at all, as they were too weak, and naturally, he was easily killed. Heavenly Thunder, leave him to me. Lightning flashed in the eyes of Tyrannical Thunder Ancestor, who was next to him, and he was ready to help. Tyrannical Thunder, don't move, let me deal with this kid. Heavenly Thunder Ancestor said angrily. I don't believe that I can't beat a little kid. If I don't kill him, I won't be able to quell the anger in my heart. I will let him know that this era is not his era, but our era. Okay, I'll leave him to you. Tyrannical Thunder Ancestor wanted to help, as his strength is obviously stronger. But Heavenly Thunder Ancestor himself needs to save face, and he doesn't believe that he can't deal with a young junior. This is really too shameful. Immediately, Heavenly Thunder Ancestor's power rose again, and the divine runes on his body completely lit up, as if they were ignited. His battle power also rose, and suddenly soared to 13 million battle power. From the original 5 million battle power, it exploded to 13 million battle power, and this is the effect of martial arts and weapons, plus the divine runes on his body. There is a significant bonus. This is definitely an unprecedented superposition, and the use of power to the extreme. The power of a divine rune master is very strong, and anyone who thinks that they are only cultivators who can inscribe divine runes is too naive. Through special means, divine runes can be inscribed on the body, but the side effects are also great, and the effect is also amazing. The foundation of the divine rune mansion is really strong, but it is a pity that they provoked Yi Tianyun. As expected of an elder of the divine rune mansion, this is the power of a true core transformation expert. Yi Tianyun's eyes flashed a few cold light, and immediately mobilized the things in the inventory, and soon the giant sword, Titan God armor, and Titan leg guards were put on his body, and instantly activated the set's effect. Ding! Successfully equipped Titan God armor. Additional effect increases defense by 5 times. When in a crisis, a layer of armor can appear to block attacks. Ding! Successfully equipped Titan God armor. Additional effect increases speed by 5 times. Movement speed on the ground. When hit, the speed instantly soars to 10 times. Ding! Successfully equipped Titan God armor. Additional effect increases strength by 3 times. The more powerful the combo, the stronger the strength. The maximum effect stacks up to 5 times. Ding! Successfully equipped Titan God armor. Additional effect increases strength by 5 times, attack speed by 2 times, defense by 2 times. Ding! Successfully equipped Titan God armor. Additional effect increases strength by 5 times, attack speed by 2 times, defense by 2 times. After successfully equipping this set, his body flashed with a special light, and his power reached a whole new level. At this moment, his battle power has soared to 13 million battle power. Chapter 262. After Yi Tianyun put on the suit, his overall combat power has been superimposed to 1,300, which is almost the same as Heavenly Thunder Ancestor's combat power. The enhanced strength mentioned here can't be superimposed with crazy mode. If it can be superimposed, then it will be really terrifying. Of course, his current strength has reached a very amazing level. His combat power has increased by 5 million, which is already very heaven-defying. Come on. A cold light flashed in Yi Tianyun's eyes. He is holding a huge sword that is more than 6 meters long. It looks really huge. Just the weight of the sword alone has the power of tens of thousands of genes. When they saw it, they were stunned. It is rare to see someone use such a huge sword. The reason is very simple, that is, it is too heavy and not very flexible. The next moment, he equipped the phoenix wings and directly rushed towards Heavenly Thunder Ancestor. His speed is too fast. In the blink of an eye, he arrived in front of Heavenly Thunder Ancestor. There is no need for Heavenly Thunder Ancestor to attack. Yi Tianyun has already arrived in front of him. Go to hell. Yi Tianyun roared and waved the huge sword in his hand and fiercely chopped down. Heavenly Thunder Ancestor is unwilling to give up his responsibility and waved the long spear in his hand to block the attack. Clang! A violent sound exploded in the air, accompanied by a burst of energy waves, swept out in all directions, blowing away the rubble. In just one move, the two of them had actually fought to a draw, neither of them having the upper hand. What a strong strength, isn't this kid's strength a bit too terrifying? Heavenly Thunder Ancestor was horrified. This strength is really too terrifying, it is actually on par with him. His body is a little old, but it is not too bad, especially with the blessing of the divine runes. He is much stronger than most of the core transformation stage powerhouses. But when he collided with Yi Tianyun, it was an amazing draw. This made him wonder if Yi Tianyun's cultivation was at the 8th or 9th level of the core transformation stage. Otherwise, how could he be so strong? The way they judge a person's cultivation level is very simple, that is, they judge it by the strength and aura, but Yi Tianyun's aura is too strong. Under the crazy mode, whether it is his strength or aura, it seems that he has reached the late stage of core transformation. Especially his current strength, it made him wonder if Yi Tianyun's cultivation was at the 8th or 9th level of the core transformation stage. If that was the case, then it would be heaven-defying. How could the Netherworld Empire have such a monstrous genius? There were many geniuses in the Netherworld Empire, but the young man in front of him was too heaven-defying. Yi Tianyun didn't think too much about it. He swung the gigantic sword in his hand with all his might and slashed again without any hesitation. Clang! Another ferocious strike came down. This time, Patriarch Heavenly Thunder was sent flying slightly inferior to Yi Tianyun. This shocked him. This power could still be increased. Has this kid not reached his limit yet? Patriarch Heavenly Thunder's heart trembled. Without waiting for him to think more, Yi Tianyun slashed down again. Patriarch Heavenly Thunder couldn't dodge at all, he could only continue to wave his spear to block. Clang! This time, Patriarch Heavenly Thunder was sent flying for a short distance. His hand was numb, and his strength increased again. Yi Tianyun didn't stop at all, he continued to attack, his power increased again, and the more he attacked, the stronger his power became. Originally, his combat power was 13 million, but now it has been superimposed to 13.8 million, which suddenly increased his combat power by 800,000. This was the effect of combo slash. The more he attacked consecutively, the fiercer he would become, causing his strength to increase greatly. Clang! Once again, Patriarch Heavenly Thunder was sent flying for a long distance. He almost couldn't hold the spear in his hand. What a terrifying power! Kill him! Patriarch Heavenly Thunder's heart trembled. If this continues, he will die. He didn't want to die. When he encountered the fear of death, he immediately threw away his previous face and asked Patriarch Heavenly Thunder for help. Kid, don't be arrogant. Patriarch Heavenly Thunder also had a long spear in his hand. He aimed at Yi Tianyun and pierced him. He couldn't stand it anymore. Even if Patriarch Heavenly Thunder didn't ask for help, he would have already taken action. He can see that Yi Tianyun is getting stronger and stronger. Patriarch Heavenly Thunder's situation is gradually falling into a disadvantageous position. If this continues, his companions will be in great danger. Under the encirclement of the two, Yi Tianyun's face sank. Patriarch Heavenly Thunder's power is stronger. If they surround him, it will be difficult for him to deal with them. But he has reached his goal. Titan's Wrath. In the next moment, Yi Tianyun waved the giant sword in his hand, consumed 5,000 crazy point, and slashed at Patriarch Heavenly Thunder. An extreme blade light broke out from the sword and turned into a real giant sword that pierced through the sky. 18 million combat power. Boom! No! Patriarch Heavenly Thunder screamed, looking at the giant sword that pierced through him, he let out a scream. The shining divine rune on his body and the long spear in his hand couldn't resist this terrifying sword. It's much stronger than his current strength, he can't resist it at all. Heavenly Thunder. Patriarch Heavenly Thunder roared, but it's too late. The saber light slashed down viciously, splitting Patriarch Heavenly Thunder in half. Then, he was devoured by the saber light and turned into nothingness. Ding! Successfully killed Patriarch Heavenly Thunder. Reward 3. 1,000,000 EXP, 50,000 Crazy Point, 2,000 SPs, 10,000 Divine Rune Mastery Points. Obtained Martial Art Thunder Flash, Heavenly Thunder Secret Art. Obtained items, Heavenly Thunder Divine Spear, God Destruction Array, Heavenly Thunder Divine Bead, Rare. Successfully killed an enemy above my level. Reward 30,000,000 EXP, 100,000 Crazy Point, 1,000 SPs, 1 Enhanced Lottery Ticket. Ding! Patriarch Heavenly Thunder was hacked to death. After being hacked to death, Yi Tianyun quickly flew back, and at the same time, he took out the Ice Divine Bow, aimed at the angry Patriarch Heavenly Thunder, and shot an arrow. Its power is the same as before, it's amazing. But Patriarch Heavenly Thunder is much stronger than Patriarch Heavenly Thunder. He slammed the long spear in his hand. Boom! The Ice Divine Bow smashed into pieces, but Patriarch Heavenly Thunder was still frozen by the extreme cold. It's just that the effect on Patriarch Heavenly Thunder is not big, it's all blocked by the divine rune on his body. He only suffered a little frostbite, almost negligible. How dare you kill Patriarch Heavenly Thunder? You're dead. Patriarch Heavenly Thunder was furious, completely furious. The heavenly thunder in the sky continued to gather and poured into his body. His combat power rose crazily. It seems that the heavenly thunder art he is running is more powerful than Patriarch Heavenly Thunder. Chapter 263. Old Ancestor Tyrannical Thunder's battle prowess skyrocketed. It was now 3 times his original battle prowess. Moreover, this number had not reached its limit yet. But at least his current strength was enough to put some pressure on Yi Tianyun. I don't care whether you are from the Netherworld Empire or some other force. You must die for killing Tianlei. Old Ancestor Tyrannical Thunder was furious. His voice exploded in the sky like thunder. Many disciples below were stunned. They were not shocked by the power of Old Ancestor Tyrannical Thunder, but by Yi Tianyun's strength. Just now, Old Ancestor Tyrannical Thunder was killed by a single sword strike. This was simply unbelievable. This was their old ancestor, an invincible existence, but he was killed by a young man. Wasn't this a little too strong? Yi Tianyun looked at him coldly. Old Ancestor Tyrannical Thunder was really powerful, but at this point, he had no choice but to fight. Is that so? For me, the Divine Rune Mansion will also be destroyed today. Yi Tianyun said as he held the giant sword horizontally. Then let's see who will be killed first. Old Ancestor Tyrannical Thunder had already gathered his strength. He brandished the long spear in his hand and rushed forward. With the help of the power of thunder and lightning, his speed increased a lot. It was as if he had turned into a bolt of lightning. All of his power was condensed in the long spear. Thunder flash. Kaboom! Along with the sound of thunder, Old Ancestor Tyrannical Thunder threw the spear with all his might. The spear in his hand turned into a thunder dragon, roaring angrily. This time, Yi Tianyun didn't choose to defend passively. Instead, he brandished his giant sword and rushed towards Old Ancestor Tyrant Thunder with all his might. Heaven-raising slash. An attack that was as fast as lightning smashed forward. Thanks to the sword's extremely long blade, the attack landed on Old Ancestor Tyrant Lightning's body. Clang! The two weapons collided with each other, producing a loud noise. However, this time, it was Yi Tianyun who was sent flying back a little. Old Ancestor Tyrannical Thunder's strength was too overwhelming. The divine runes on his body had already shown to the extreme, and it seemed as if they were coordinating with his anger as they fiercely attacked Yi Tianyun. Go to hell. While resisting, Old Ancestor Tyrannical Thunder continued to rush over and instantly closed the distance between them. At this moment, Yi Tianyun did not give up. He still fiercely swung the giant sword, intending to cut Tyrannical Thunder Ancestor into 2. Clang! Old Ancestor Tyrannical Thunder once again parried this move. However, this time, Yi Tianyun was not sent flying too far away. Thanks to the combo, his strength had increased slightly for a short period of time. However, this little improvement was meaningless to Tyrannical Thunder Ancestor. After parrying the attack, Old Ancestor Tyrannical Thunder had already arrived in front of Yi Tianyun. He brandished his spear and stabbed at Yi Tianyun. A thunder dragon was released from the spearhead, turning into a huge dragon head that bit towards Yi Tianyun. When the spear was about to touch Yi Tianyun, the sky-raising divine armor on his body emitted a burst of light, forming a thick armor that blocked the attack, preventing the hard spearhead from advancing even half an inch. At this critical moment, the sky-raising divine armor activated its defensive mode, forming a thick armor that blocked the attack. What kind of effect is this? Old Ancestor Tyrannical Thunder found that he could not stab his spear into Yi Tianyun's body no matter how hard he tried. His extremely powerful attack was actually blocked just like that. Before he could think further, Yi Tianyun's combo attack came again, fiercely slashing down. Old Ancestor Tyrannical Thunder had no choice but to block it and suffered another heavy slash. Clang! Old Ancestor Tyrannical Thunder was sent flying a little. Under this collision of strength, Yi Tianyun was actually slightly stronger. In terms of strength, he had slightly surpassed Old Ancestor Tyrannical Thunder. Again. Yi Tianyun roared and once again brandished the sky-raising divine sword, continuing to fiercely attack Old Ancestor Tyrannical Thunder. The armor on his body released a protective shield to resist the opponent's violent strength. If it wasn't for the effect of the sky-raising divine armor, he would have been stabbed by the spear. As the two fought crazily, Yi Tianyun's strength rose sharply, and he actually dared to fight Old Ancestor Tyrannical Thunder to a draw. At this time, the disciples below were even more shocked. How could there be such a heaven-defying existence that even their strongest old ancestor could fight to a draw? Their old ancestor was at the peak of the core transformation stage, and he was half a step into the void spirit stage. How could he lose to a young man? Clang! After a blow, Old Ancestor Tyrannical Thunder was bounced back, and his hand that was tightly holding the long spear began to numb. His opponent attacked crazily, but his attack couldn't cause even the slightest bit of damage. His attack was blocked by the protective shield, and he simply couldn't attack. This made him panic for a while. If this continued, he would definitely die. Little did he know that Yi Tianyun also didn't want to drag the battle. The protective shield on his body had a time limit, and the most important thing was that he could only increase his strength by attacking crazily. Just a trivial junior, don't be arrogant. Old Ancestor Tyrannical Thunder roared, and several divine veins on his body suddenly detonated and exploded on his body. Then, blood continuously flowed from his body, dyeing the ground red. In an instant, his imposing aura rose a lot, and his body swelled a lot. His hair stood on end, and the power of thunder and lightning was completely released. If he looked like a thunder god before, then now, he looked even more like a thunder god. Old Ancestor is consuming his blood essence. This time, he really has to go all out. I hope Old Ancestor will kill this bastard, otherwise, the Divine Rune Mansion will be finished. Old Ancestor has released his full strength, so he can definitely crush that kid. These attendants worshipped their old ancestor to the extreme, but it was indeed so. After burning his blood essence and releasing the power of the divine veins on his body, his strength once again increased by a level. This was more effective than taking any berserk elixir, but the effect of berserk elixir was always limited. This was a problem of medicinal efficacy, and it was impossible to apply to all cultivations. It would have some effect on those with low cultivation, but the difficulty would not increase too much for those with high cultivation. Very well, you have completely infuriated me. I admit that you have some strength, but everything ends here. Old Ancestor Tyrannical Thunder's thick palm clenched the long spear, and dazzling lightning flashed in his eyes. His strength had increased a lot, from the original combat power of 16 million to 20 million. Under the situation of burning his blood essence and releasing the divine veins, his strength soared to 20 million, which was simply a crazy mode. Yi Tianyun felt great pressure, and the pressure was even greater than before. Was the gap between the two really too big? It seemed that it would be difficult to quickly make up for it. Chapter 264. Titan's Wrath. In the face of old ancestors' anger, Yi Shiwen didn't respond to him with words. Instead, he slashed down heavily with his strongest attack. The cooldown time was just right. A giant sword pierced through the sky and heavily slashed down towards old ancestor. A dazzling light was released and enveloped the ground. Boom! A heavy blow fell from the sky and heavily pressed on the ground. A deafening sound rang out as if the earth was about to be torn in half. At this time, the light on Yi Tianyun's armor disappeared. The protection effect of this shield can only last for a short time, it can't last for too long. However, it was already amazing that he could withstand such a powerful attack from a core transformation stage powerhouse. After the loud noise, a lightning struck out from the light at an even faster speed. It was so fast that Yi Tianyun couldn't dodge it. Go to hell! Old ancestor roared. The light of the long spear in his hand shone to the extreme. All of his power was concentrated on this point. A strong sense of crisis surged from the bottom of Yi Tianyun's heart. He had a special premonition that even if he used the Xian Tian divine art, his body would still be penetrated after being stabbed by this spear. Yi Tianyun's pupils shrank, and in the next moment, his body disappeared in place. Tyrant Thunder Old Ancestor's crazy attack missed, and an extreme lightning struck the ground directly, followed by an unfathomable big hole in the ground. Such a terrifying penetrating force made people speechless. However, the big pit next to him was even more shocking. This was the big pit left by Yi Tianyun's Titan's Wrath. The damage to Old Ancestor Tyrant Thunder was not very big, but it was not small either. There were many wounds all over his body, and blood was constantly flowing out. No one knew which ones were released by Old Ancestor himself and which ones were hit by Yi Tianyun. The most important thing was, where did Yi Tianyun go? Yi Tianyun suddenly disappeared, which caught Old Ancestor Tyrant Thunder off guard. Yi Tianyun actually dodged his attack. While he was shocked, a cold light flashed behind him. A sense of crisis of death surged from his heart, causing him to subconsciously dodge to the side. However, all of this seemed to be too slow. A heavy sword slashed down, chopping off a small half of his body. One of his arms spun dozens of times in the air before finally falling to the ground. It looked very bloody. At the same time, a large amount of blood sprayed out from his severed arm. However, it was quickly stopped. Patriarch Tyrant Thunder had used his martial power to stop the blood flow. Not only was it missing an arm, but almost half of its body was missing as well. It was a ghastly sight. Fortunately, he dodged quickly, or he would really be finished. But before he could catch his breath, a sharp arrow of extreme frost pierced through the air, sweeping up waves of cold air. Damn it! Old Ancestor's face was pale. He waved his long spear to block it. Fortunately, it was not his hand that was cut off, otherwise he would have to block it with his bare hands. Bang! The ice arrow was stabbed by his spear, and the two caused another explosion, but the ice sword rolled up a burst of cold air, sweeping the area within a mile, turning it into a world of ice and snow. Old Ancestor Tyrant Thunder also felt the power of the extreme cold ice. This is the ice wrath that consumed 5,000 crazy points, how can the effect be bad? He waited for the cooldown to end and immediately used it. He didn't even pause for a second. If it was before, there would be no problem, but now that he was injured, it was different. Yi Tianyun's expression was cold, holding the ice divine bow in his hand, he couldn't stop the continuous attacks. Fortunately, he had teleportation, otherwise it would be difficult to avoid the attack. Then he continued to shoot ice arrows, several of them in a row. He wanted to exhaust old ancestor Tyrant Thunder to death. His close combat strength may not be able to defeat old ancestor Tyrant Thunder, but this long-range attack can definitely slowly kill him. Although old ancestor Tyrant Thunder is injured, he is still cautious and does not attack close to him. Bang bang bang. The 3 ice arrows were pierced by the spear, but the burst of cold air continued to roll, freezing old ancestor Tyrant Thunder in a layer. Just after shooting, Tianyun did not wait for old ancestor Tyrant Thunder to take a breather. He pulled the bowstring and shot 3 more arrows. 3 consecutive shots, continuously attacking old ancestor Tyrant Thunder. He did not intend to stop, he just aimed at old ancestor Tyrant Thunder. Fight me again if you have the ability. Old ancestor Tyrant Thunder roared and pierced the ice arrow coming at him. Even if he is injured, he can still persist. I am not fighting you now. Tianyun pulled the bowstring again, and then madly shot at old ancestor Tyrant Thunder again. Son of a bitch. Get close and fight me. What kind of skill is attacking from such a distance? Old ancestor Tyrant Thunder roared. You don't have the ability, so you blame others for not having the ability, shameless old man. Tianyun sneered, pulled the bowstring again, and then continued to attack. With this crazy attack, more and more parts of old ancestor Tyrant Thunder's body were frozen, and he is almost unable to fly. If this continues, he will die without a doubt. Old ancestor is about to die. That kid is too despicable to attack from such a distance. What kind of skill is that? Yeah, son of a bitch. If you have the ability, come closer and attack. They clamored below, expressing their dissatisfaction with Tianyun's attack. Swish. Swish. 3 arrows pierced through them. Before they could react, the 3 arrows pierced through their bodies and froze them into ice sculptures. You don't have the ability, but you talk a lot of nonsense. You can't possibly say that you want your old ancestor to become younger before fighting me, or lower his cultivation to fight me, right? A bunch of trash. Tianyun looked coldly at the deacons below. Just a glance was enough to scare them, and they hurriedly hid to the side, no longer daring to come out and challenge him. What fairness? That was bullshit here. His cultivation is only at the first level of core transformation stage, and the other party is at the peak of core transformation stage. How dare he talk about skill with him? If he has the ability and the other party's cultivation is the same, see if he can't cut this old ancestor Tyrant Thunder half to death. Old ancestor Tyrant Thunder was forced to retreat for some distance, and his face became paler, but more than that, he felt humiliated. Very good. Very good. Old ancestor Tyrant Thunder said angrily, today, even if I die, I will drag you down with me. After saying that, he roared, and the divine inscriptions on his body completely exploded. One by one, the divine inscriptions exploded, and it looked painful. However, as the divine inscriptions exploded, his momentum did not weaken, but became stronger and stronger, and his body was also badly mutilated. Chapter 265. Since old ancestor Tyrannical Thunder could still continue to increase in power, it seemed that he was really going to go all out, and he was going all out. From the looks of it, even if Patriarch Tyrannical Thunder managed to survive, he would not be far from death or his cultivation would be crippled. The divine runes on his body exploded in order to unleash all of his power. He didn't know the specific effects, but looking at the soaring combat power, he knew that the side effects must be shocking. His body had been blown up to this extent, and it would be strange if there were no side effects. It was obvious that old ancestor Tyrannical Thunder really wanted to fight with his life on the line. If he didn't fight with his life on the line, he would die sooner or later. Titan's Fury. Tianyun didn't hesitate. The moment the sky-raising giant sword's cooldown ended, he instantly erupted with his strongest power. A sword beam fell from the sky, pierced through the sky, and enveloped old ancestor Tyrannical Thunder. Bang! Suddenly, a bolt of divine lightning tore through space to blast apart the sword beam. Wielding his spear, Patriarch Tyrannical Thunder flew over at a speed several times faster than before. It did not look like he was seriously wounded at all. So. After completely detonating it, all of his strength had been greatly enhanced. He had already thrown caution to the wind and temporarily ignored his injuries. Die! The spear in Old Ancestor Tyrant Thunder's hand burst into a dazzling light that illuminated the entire sky. It was very dazzling and even illuminated Yi Tianyun's line of sight. This power was simply too domineering, so domineering that it was unbelievable. His strongest attack, Titan's Wrath, had been easily pierced through. How could he possibly resist Patriarch Tyrant Thunder's attack? In the blink of an eye, Tyrannical Thunder Ancestor had already arrived in front of Yi Tianyun. He brandished the spear in his hand and ruthlessly thrust it forward. This time, Yi Tianyun's instant movement's cooldown was not up yet. None of his martial arts skills were off cooldown. He wanted to escape, but he felt that he had been completely locked on. Even with the speed boost from the Phoenix Wings, he still couldn't escape. The difference in speed between the two was too great. They were not on the same level at all. In that instant, he thought of several problems, but it seemed like there was no good way to defend against it. Even if he uses Crazy Point to upgrade Dragon God Bloodline, the help is very limited. His foundation was still very low. Even if he upgraded these martial arts, it was unlikely that he could surpass Old Ancestor Tyrannical Thunder in a short time. The only way was to drag things out. Patriarch Tyrannical Thunder could not afford to drag things out for too long. Xian Tian Divine Art, open. Golden Body Formula, open. Divine Dragon Bloodline, activate. He activated all 3 layers of defense and swung the giant sword in his hand to block the most terrifying attack. However, the difference in strength between him and Old Ancestor Tyrant Thunder was too great. Old Ancestor Tyrant Thunder fiercely swung his spear and a terrifying thunder dragon pierced through the air, shaking off the sky-raising greatsword in front of him. Then, countless lightning bolts crazily hacked over. Absorbing Star's great technique. Yi Tianyun frantically absorbed the energy, but the absorption effect was limited, especially when facing the berserk Old Ancestor Tyrant Thunder, the pressure was too great. Boom! A bolt of divine lightning pierced through his absorption and struck his body ruthlessly. In an instant, his body was slightly charred, but it did not injure his insides. There is no effect. Yi Tianyun was stunned. He did not expect his defense to be so strong. When so many layers of defense were superimposed, he found that his defense seemed to have reached a heaven-defying level. He did not have the habit of being beaten, so he basically killed his opponents in seconds. Now, he found that the effect of such an attack was quite limited. Not to mention him, Old Ancestor Tyrant Thunder was also stunned. His overbearing power actually had no effect at all. Impossible, die for me. Old Ancestor Tyrant Thunder fiercely swung his spear and continued to stab at Yi Tianyun. This time, Yi Tianyun could not use the sky-raising greatsword to block the attack because Old Ancestor Tyrant Thunder was too close. Clang! The heavy stab of the spear did not pierce through Yi Tianyun, but only sent him flying for a distance. A small bloodstain appeared on his body, which meant that this overbearing attack had no effect on him at all. It could only cause superficial damage. What's going on? Old Ancestor Tyrant Thunder was dumbfounded. Previously, the divine thunder he released did not cause any effect. Now, the entire divine spear stabbed at Yi Shiwen and only scratched his skin. There's nothing going on. It's just that your attack is too weak. Yi Tianyun laughed. It seemed that he had underestimated his defense. Now, after testing it, he found that it was so powerful that it was heaven-defying. After the 3 ultimate martial arts erupted, the sky-raising divine armor on his body and the guardian title superimposed. This superimposed his defense to a terrifying value, but he could not see the detailed data. It was all converted into combat power. However, the increase in combat power was not much. He did not expect the real effect to be so amazing. Immediately, Yi Tianyun raised the sky-raising greatsword and slapped it. He was no longer afraid of old ancestor Tyrant Thunder's attack and fiercely attacked. His speed might not be as fast as old ancestor Tyrant Thunder, but he was not afraid of being beaten. He let old ancestor Tyrant Thunder attack and continued to use his powerful defense to resist. In this crazy state of battle, old ancestor Tyrant Thunder was slapped away. This attack was too crazy. He was not afraid of getting injured at all. Naturally, the effect of his attack was different. For example, Yi Tianyun did not dodge and continued to fight with his life on the line. Yi Tianyun was fine after being stabbed, but it did not mean that old ancestor Tyrant Thunder was fine after being slapped. Therefore, even if his combat power was inferior, he could still force old ancestor Tyrant Thunder to retreat. This made old ancestor Tyrant Thunder angry and exasperated. "Brat, how can you be so hard? If a man is not hard, can he still be a man? Idiot!" Yi Tianyun sneered and continued to attack. Finally, he slapped old ancestor Tyrant Thunder and sent him flying. He spat out a mouthful of blood and fell straight from the sky. Boom! Old ancestor Tyrant Thunder's whole body smashed to the ground. Under this smash, he immediately lost his breath. He could not hold on for long after activating all his power. Now that he was slapped, old ancestor Tyrant Thunder was smashed to death. Old ancestor! They cried out in alarm and wanted to go forward to save old ancestor Tyrant Thunder. However, Yi Tianyun had already arrived in front of old ancestor Tyrant Thunder. "It's finally over. If it weren't for my strong defense, I wouldn't have been able to deal with you." Yi Tianyun looked at him and sneered. You. Old ancestor Tyrant Thunder's eyes widened, but he could not say a word. He desperately stimulated his power, but now, he did not even have the strength to speak. Chapter 266. Yi Tianyun slashed down with his sword. Old ancestor Tyrannical Thunder couldn't resist the last strike at all. He couldn't even get up and could only watch the sword coming down on him. With a loud bang, old ancestor Tyrannical Thunder completely stopped breathing. Ding! Successfully killed old ancestor Tyrannical Thunder. Reward: 3 million EXP, 60,000 CPS, 1,000 SPS, 10,000 Divine Rune Mastery. Obtained Martial Art Thunder Flash, Heavenly Lightning Secret Art. Items obtained: Thunder God's Spear, High-Grade Soul Tool, Heavenly Lightning Divine Armor, High-Grade Soul Tool, Heavenly Lightning Leg Guards, High-Grade Soul Tool, Divine Rune Golden Body, Rare. Ding! Successfully killed an enemy above my level. Reward: 50 million EXP, 100,000 CPS, 1,000 Divine Rune Mastery. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Tianyun for successfully breaking through to second level core transformation stage. Ding! 30 times EXP card time up. Ding! 20 times EXP card time up. A series of notifications kept popping up. Finally, he successfully leveled up after killing an enemy above his level. One must know that he needs more and more EXP to level up. Even with 58 times EXP, it's only a few million EXP. In fact, this is not bad. As long as he kills a few hundred enemies, he can level up. This speed is not slow. At least it's better than those who have to cultivate for several years to barely break through a level. But Yi Tianyun feels that it's still too slow. He wants to break through faster and reach a higher level. Because he is facing a very strong enemy, he has to speed up his pace, otherwise he will be the one to die. Continue. After Yi Tianyun collected their treasures, he turned around and looked at the front coldly. The black dragon continued to destroy crazily. Originally, he could let the black dragon continue to destroy here, but he is afraid of angering these old ancestors. If they attack together or kill the black dragon alone, it will be troublesome. But he can keep the black dragon in the pet bar. Since this problem exists, he might as well let the black dragon stay next to him. Roar. After obtaining permission, the black dragon let out a furious roar and frantically stomped around, continuing to destroy the divine rune manor. Since there were no great ancestor-level existences, it was easy for them to destroy, scaring the attendants into fleeing. However, with their cultivation, how could they possibly escape? Yi Tianyun slaughtered his way through, and everywhere he went, not even a blade of grass remained. At the same time, he continued to plunder all the treasures of the divine inscription manor. In just a short period of time, this place was completely turned into ruins. From then on, the divine inscription manor no longer existed. After Yi Tianyun left, the matter of the divine rune manor exploded in the heavenly boundary continent. Although the divine inscription manor was not very strong, it was at least an upper-middle power. Yet, it had been destroyed just like that. However, there was a lot of news, such as the youth riding the black dragon and the talisman of the Netherworld Great Emperor. In a short period of time, this news exploded in the Skyline continent. First, it was the Star Pavilion. When they heard the news, their faces darkened. Previously, the Wang family was killed by a youth riding a black dragon, and now, the divine inscription manor was flattened. Wasn't this too terrifying? Moreover, it was related to the Netherworld Great Emperor. Could it be someone from the Netherworld Empire? Pavilion Lordly, this news. When Elder Yun of the Star Pavilion heard the news, he immediately reported it to Li Tianlong. We don't need to pay attention to this matter. In the future, we don't need to inquire about this matter. Just tear down the arrest warrant. Li Tianlong waved his hand and said, whether it's someone from the Netherworld Empire or not, the person who can destroy the divine inscription manor is definitely not a simple expert. Although we are not afraid of him, let's forget about the Wang family's matter. Presumably, the Wang family provoked him, so we can only say that they brought it upon themselves. The arrest warrant was not issued by Li Tianlong, but by other elders. Normally, he would not care about these matters. The death of a pavilion lord, to a large extent, depended on who he provoked. At the same time, the Netherworld Empire was also in an uproar. The most important thing was the talisman of the Netherworld Great Emperor. Reporting to the Great Emperor, I am afraid that the mysterious expert who destroyed the divine inscription manor is the one who killed our ministers. But now that he has the talisman of the Great Emperor, he will make the Great Emperor suffer injustice. The ministers who were kneeling on the ground were filled with anger. They simply could not tolerate the fact that the Great Emperor had pushed the blame to them. It seems that he has some guts to put the blame on me. The Netherworld Great Emperor sat on a huge chair and squinted his eyes. A strange light flickered in his eyes. No one knew whether he was happy or angry in his heart. He immediately said in a deep voice, "Thoroughly investigate him for me. Let me know which force he belongs to. There is only one end for those who dare to oppose me." The Great Emperor tightened his grip on the chair, and with a crack sound, the side of the chair broke into pieces. The material used to make the chair was very hard, but it was easily crushed by the Great Emperor. We have some news about this before, but we didn't pay much attention to it. A long time ago, the Qing Xian mansion was also destroyed by the master of a black dragon. But for the time being, we don't know which force he belongs to. We can only investigate it. The minister said seriously. I will give you 1 month, if you can't find out who he is, you can imagine the consequences. The Netherworld Great Emperor stood up and said with a cold look. Yes. The minister's heart trembled, but he still smiled bitterly. There is no doubt that when Yi Tianyun went to eradicate the Qing Xian mansion, he was seen by an informant. But for the time being, he didn't know the strength of the informant. In the Earth Boundary continent, only a few people knew that Yi Tianyun had a black dragon. Yi Tianyun didn't want to expose this matter. After all, he had done too many conspicuous things while riding the black dragon. On the other side of the heaven's top mansion, they were also deeply shocked by the news. A young man riding a black dragon destroyed the divine rune mansion. There is no doubt that this person is Yi Tianyun. At present, only Yi Tianyun has a black dragon, unless there is another person who has a mythological beast black dragon as a mount. But there are very few people who can have a mythological beast as a mount. Mansion Lord. Isn't he a bit too strong? The Great Elder and the others were shocked. A huge divine rune mansion was destroyed just like that. How much strength does it take to do this? They can only keep this news to themselves. If the outside world knew about it, their heaven's top mansion will be in great danger. Unless it is as strong as the Netherworld Empire, otherwise, they really don't dare to announce it. Especially since Yi Tianyun killed a minister of the Netherworld Empire. Chapter 267. Yi Tianyun quickly put away the black dragon and flew towards Heavenly Jade's sect with phoenix wings. Since he is now at core transformation stage, his speed is quite amazing. Successfully completed, Eradicate the Scourge of Divine Rune Mansion, quest, successfully obtained 10 million EXP, 100. 000 Crazy Point, 1 Tyrant Rune Paper, 1 Enhanced Roulette Lottery, 100 Prestige Point, 1000 Spitz Point. The reward for completing the task has just popped up, and Yi Tianyun is very satisfied with the reward. No matter which point it was, he was quite satisfied. Not only did his reputation value increase a lot, but his sin value also increased a lot. This kind of quest is simply the more the better. He will accept as many as he can, but only a certain level of scourge can trigger this kind of quest. It seems that the system can't stand it anymore. It wants me to eradicate this divine rune mansion. Yi Tianyun nodded with a smile. Immediately, he opened the enhanced roulette lottery. He must try it immediately, otherwise, there is no point in keeping it. I wonder what will I get this time. Yi Tianyun was quite excited. He obtained the Ice Divine Bow before. It is a super killing weapon. He doesn't know what kind of weapon or treasure he can get in the next level. Then he first activated Luck Aura, and then the enhanced roulette lottery began to spin crazily. He just looked at it. No matter what it drops, he is willing to accept it. Soon, the needle stopped and finally stopped on the cultivation technique. This is the first time he got an enhanced version of the skill type. He doesn't know what kind of skill it will be. Ding, dong, a box fell down. Yi Tianyun took a deep breath, and slowly opened the box. A dazzling martial art appeared in front of him, Afterimage Doppelganger. Shadow Clone Technique, high-grade Earth-level martial art, can be upgraded. Can create 3 doppelgangers that are exactly the same as oneself, and have 3 layers of power. The duration is 10 minutes, the cooldown time is 1 hour. As the level increases, the power will become stronger and stronger. The maximum power will reach 100%. Good stuff. Yi Tianyun cried out in surprise. This was an afterimage attack, which meant that he had a few more helpers, and a few more targets to confuse. Sending out a doppelganger to disturb the opponent while he quietly escaped. It was perfect. Especially as his level increased, its power would also increase. This was what he needed. Up until now, he only had 30% of his strength, which was a little too little. This was also a high-grade Earth-level martial art. If he wanted to achieve 100% power, he guessed that he would need at least a high-grade Heaven-level martial art, right? It was quite difficult to level up. He had already plundered a lot of treasures, and he also had a lot of high-grade Earth-level martial arts. However, if he were to stuff them in to make up for his proficiency, he could only say, it would be too stupid. If converted into Crazy Point, he can get at least tens of thousands of Crazy Point, but if converted into proficiency points, he can get at most a few hundred, which is quite small. It's better to give it to Heavenly Jade's sect or Heaven's top mansion, or sell it for Crazy Points. Unless he was short of a few hundred or 1,000 proficiency points, he would not be willing to spend it. For example, to upgrade a high-grade Earth-level martial art to a low-grade Heaven-level martial art, he needs 1 million proficiency points. Assuming that a martial art requires 500 proficiency points, he would need 200 to fill the gap. 200 high-grade Earth-level martial art, if sold in the store, he can get 10,000 crazy points, which means 20 million. Using 20 million proficiency points to upgrade an Earth-level martial art to a Heaven-level martial art, unless he has too many martial arts, he really can't play like this. In fact, there are not many at all. High-grade Earth-level martial art is relatively rare in the third-grade forces. He checked old ancestor Tyrant Thunder's net worth on the flight. He only has about 2 or 3 high-grade martial arts, and a little more middle-grade Earth-level martial arts. But to increase proficiency, in the case of different types of martial arts, it needs to be of the same grade. This means that leveling up is too difficult. He can only increase proficiency through continuous use. For now, Yi Tianyun does not intend to focus on this aspect, otherwise he will lose a lot of money. Either he sells it and doesn't use it, or he changes it to a new martial art. In addition to martial arts, weapons are more frequently replaced. Many of the previous things are cleaned up and replaced with crazy points. The martial arts obtained from killing enemies are also sold, and there are not many left. All of a sudden, he felt that his entire inventory is a lot cleaner, and his crazy point has stacked up to more than 3 million. Not bad, not bad, more than 3 million crazy point, more than 50,000 sin point. Divine rune proficiency, less than 5,000 points. When Yi Tianyun checked his attributes, he found that his divine rune proficiency is almost 5,000 points away from leveling up, which surprised him. All of this is the credit of the quintuple proficiency card, plus the leveling up of the divine rune mansion. Suddenly the proficiency exploded. If he kept inscribing divine rune, it would really take a long time to reach this value. In the process of sorting out things, he quickly returned to the area of Heavenly Jade Sect. As soon as he came back, he saw a large open space outside the heavens immersing ancient ruins has been cleared, divided into a martial arts square. Many female disciples are practicing martial arts. It seems that there are a lot of new faces, all of them are practicing hard, and the person who is teaching them is none other than Lu Menglian. Her cultivation is not low now, reaching 8th or 9th level of spirit refinement. As a teacher, there is no problem for her to teach these new disciples. Very good, it seems that everything is quite orderly. Yi Tianyun nodded with satisfaction. It seems that there is no need for him to worry about this place. There are so many excellent disciples here, there is no need to worry about Heavenly Jade Sect not being able to level up. When he flew down, he walked all the way with a smile on his face, but after a few steps, a girl pointed a sword at him and said, "Who are you? How dare you break into our Heavenly Jade Sect?" Yi Tianyun was startled. At first glance, he knew that she has never seen him before, no wonder she is so hostile. Her shout attracted a lot of other disciples, and they ran over and blocked the girl behind them. "Junior sister, you, stand back, don't let him hurt you." Immediately, they stared at Yi Tianyun and said, "You dare to break into our Heavenly Jade Sect, please tell us where you are from, otherwise, don't blame us for being rude." This was already the martial arts training square. There was still a gate outside, which was simply blocked by a wooden fence. Therefore, if anyone wanted to visit, they must first be brought in by the guards outside. If they suddenly appeared, they would definitely be judged as trespassing. You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.